Chapter 12:15. Su Yin was quite surprised when he received Shen Chen's call. In his opinion, Shen Chen shouldn't have contacted him, but Du Tian was the correct procedure. This was good for him and Du Tian. As long as Su Yin could get the information he wanted, he didn't care about anything else. It wasn't close from Panjiayuan to the Imperial Capital Entertainment Center in the south of the city. There were many cars on the road at 9 o'clock. Many people were busy going to various entertainment venues after dinner. There were many entertainment venues in the south of the city, both formal and informal. In short, after dinner there were many people going south. It was the same reason why people in the southernmost part of Huaxia liked to go west to Dongguan. It was easy to have small conflicts on the road with many cars. Now, people were getting more and more arrogant. It was a small thing to have conflicts, but there were always people who lost their temper. This kind of anger was basically ignited. Once they made a scene, they didn't care if they were blocking other people's roads. They just needed to take a picture and quickly park the car aside. If they insisted on fighting, they would just say a few words if they handled it well. If they didn't handle it well, they might fight. 9 out of 10 cars on the street were driven by road-angry people. How could it not be easy to get into trouble? There were many road-angry people. The main reason was that there were too many people who didn't follow the rules. They changed lanes and didn't care about others. The purpose of turning on the headlights was not to see the road, but to blind the driver's eyes. They started at the traffic light like crazy, not because they thought that there would be more cars behind them, but to show that their horsepower was more powerful than the people next to them. Not only the drivers but the pedestrians also didn't follow the rules. They always felt that no matter what, the drivers were responsible. They certainly didn't dare to hit them. So they were as domineering as a crab, as if the whole street belonged to them. Because there were more people like this, there were more road-angry people. Today, Su Yin was stuck on the road because of a small friction in front of him. The dispute was settled for more than half an hour, and a pile of cars blocked the road for more than half an hour. In the end, it didn't end well. Behind them was an imported Mercedes-Benz Elegance that seemed low-key but was not cheap. The boss sitting in the car was very cultured. Looking at the low-key car, it could be seen that it was expensive. What couldn't it be bought with 8 or 900,000 yuan? He had already gotten an entry-level A8, but he insisted on getting such a bread-like elegant. But after half an hour, the boss in the car finally couldn't take it anymore. He had already made an appointment with someone. The two people in front of him were still dilly-dallying. He really wasn't going to let her go. The boss, who was wearing a Chinese tunic suit, suddenly said to the driver, "Run them over." After that, he said to a burly young man beside him, "You get out of the car and deal with it." "Yes," the burly young man said and directly opened the door and got out of the car. As soon as the door closed, the driver stepped on the accelerator and squeezed the two cars blocking the road to the side of the road. He directly opened a bloody path and drove away. This was definitely a great act of kindness that benefited the country and the people. Because of this, the drivers behind them applauded and cheered. Su Yin and Ma Sanner were also beneficiaries. They applauded the courage of the elegant driver. Of course, these two good dogs blocking the road were unwilling. They shouted and wanted to chase after him. Unfortunately, the burly young man picked them up and lined them up on the car windshield without saying anything. It seemed that there would be a good show tonight. But Su Yin was not in the mood to watch a show at this moment. The task that Wang Yi gave him had been done for a few days, and there was still no progress. Although Wang Yi didn't say anything, Su Yin felt uncomfortable in his heart. He had to solve this matter as soon as possible. After solving this matter, he was still preparing to meet Wei Yishan. He didn't find trouble with him that day, because Su Yin really didn't have the time to do so. And now Wei Yishan seemed to be looking for trouble with him. How could Su Yin sit back and do nothing? Su Yin had already told them to be very careful in Qingdao and Xinjiang. Some things were better off being safe than sorry. So this matter should be solved as soon as possible. He didn't have the time to drag it out. After passing through this traffic jam, the road behind was much smoother. Ma Sanner was familiar with the road. He drove like he was going back to his own home. Su Yin asked him if he often came to these places in the south of the city for entertainment. Ma Sanner really didn't come to these places for entertainment. He came several times for a child, the girl who was raised by him in the valley. It wasn't that the girl became bad in university, but the girl's brother also wanted to go to school. The girl was embarrassed to ask Ma Sanner for help, so she decided to earn money for her brother's school. What could a third-year student do if she wanted to earn money quickly? She was tricked by a few girls with questionable character and came here. They said that she didn't have to work as a waitress and would be paid 8,000 yuan a month. Bah! Ma Sanner didn't King believe it. There were so many laid-off aunties waiting for employment. If they were paid 8,000 yuan just to be waitresses, would they still need to go through confinement training? Then they should all be waitresses. It was easier than being a waitress in a restaurant. They only had to clean up wine bottles and cigarette ashes and clean dishes without oil stains. Moreover, they earned more. The restaurant owner was black-hearted and only paid 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. The owners of these entertainment places were all conscientious in the industry and directly paid 8,000 yuan. There must be something going on. 8,000 yuan wasn't that easy to earn. If she met a few drunken idiots, they might harm the child. Ma Sanner heard from one of her friends in school, so he rushed over and took the girl away that day. He patted his chest and said, "I'll pay for your brother's school fees. You should King go back to school." Ma Sanner, who had always been gentle to them, cursed. The girl went back but came back a few days later. She couldn't stand being tricked. Ma Sanner was anxious this time. He directly scolded the girls who instigated her to come. When the girl came back for the third time, Ma Sanner directly slapped her. He said, "I supported your school for so many years not to let you sell your body. If you want to earn money with your body, you don't have to go to school. School is for you to sell your brain." This slap finally woke the girl up. A year later, the girl successfully graduated and took the postgraduate entrance exam. She studied law and was highly regarded by a famous lawyer during her internship. When she was a postgraduate student, she had already found a job in the central office of COD. It was a very impressive law firm. The girl's gratitude towards Ma Sanner couldn't be described with words. Therefore, she decided to repay him with her body. This girl was the girl that Ma Sanner told Su Yun that he was going to marry. Therefore, after 2 years, Ma Sanner came back to the nightless city at the edge of Nanchang. He had some feelings in his heart, but these feelings couldn't be shared. He could only experience it himself. After parking the car, the two saw Shen Chen coming up to them. The few brothers who were surrounding Shen Chen were stunned. They thought that this big shot was finally here. Even Brother Chen was trotting over. "Chairman Su, you're here?" Shen Chen said, "I've seen that person. I'm sure that there's no problem with the characteristics. They're drinking in private room number 3 and 6. They're having fun with a few hostesses. It's good that you're sure. I believe you're not wrong." Su Yin said, "Then there's nothing for you to do here. Let the brothers go back. When this is over, I'll treat you and Chairman Du to a drink." Shen Chen took a deep breath. "Chairman Su, I'll let the brothers go back. I won't go back. I'll finish this with you." Chapter 12:16. I'll stay. Shen Chen pleaded again. "Mr. Su, I'm familiar with this place. Maybe you really need my help. Believe me, I'll be able to help if I stay." "Believe me, you won't be able to help if you stay." Ma Sanner said, "Go home, wash up and sleep. You've completed this matter successfully. We sincerely thank you. Really, if we let you stay, we'll be cheating you. Brother, we're all honest people. Do you think what I said makes sense?" Shen Chen nodded. "I know you're doing this for my own good, but this matter, if I don't handle it well, it'll be a knot in my heart. I won't be able to eat or sleep well." "Didn't you tell Mr. Du about this?" Su Yin suddenly asked. Shen Chen was stunned at first, then he nodded and said nothing. Su Yin smiled slightly. "Brother, thank you. I know why you did this. If I tell Mr. Du about this, you're afraid that he'll do something that I can't accept easily. But you told me directly that no matter what I do, I'll avenge Mr. Du, am I right?" "Mr. Su, there are some things that I really don't know how to say." Shen Chen was a little helpless and a little melancholy. "I also hope to tell you through Mr. Du first. This way, I'll look good on my face, But, as you said, there are some things that I really can't do. What do you mean, Mr. Du? Suyin asked. Do you want to deal with this matter alone? Shinchin shook his head helplessly. I don't know what Mr. Du is thinking now. We drank together the day before yesterday. I don't want to stay with him anymore. Sometimes, it's good to be a little ambitious, Suyin said meaningfully. However, you'd better not get involved in this matter with me. If you just told me about it, there's no evidence and CEO Du can't say anything about it. But if you do this with me behind his back, then the taste will be different. Now it's different, Shinchin said lightly. Mr. Su, if you don't want to get into trouble, then I won't bother you. Do you think Brother Yun is someone who's afraid of trouble? Ma San'er asked in a bad mood. Today we're here to stir up big trouble. You think Du Tian is awesome, but in front of our Brother Yun, what is he? He wasn't even worth mentioning. It's true, I'm not bragging. I know. This is definitely not a bluff, Shinchin said. Otherwise you wouldn't have come to Mr. Du's door directly. I knew that this was definitely not a small matter. So Mr. Du didn't want me to intervene. I didn't agree with him. Suyin was startled. It seemed like there was some friction between him and Du Tian. Otherwise he would not have said such words. Then what does Du Tian mean? Didn't we agree to cooperate? Ma San'er glared and said. Why are you not allowed to intervene again? Is he toying with us? Suyin was very clear about this matter. Mr. Du is too suspicious. Does he have any prejudice against you? Shinchin didn't say anything, but this matter was too clear. Even if he didn't say it, Suyin could roughly guess it. It must be that Du Tian felt that Shinchin was too attentive in this matter, and too much effort was placed on Suyun's side, not on his side. Some people's tolerance was so small. Perhaps it was a trivial matter, but it could make him think a lot. This matter is over, and I don't plan to continue working with Mr. Du. Shinchin suddenly raised his head and said. Do you want to work with Brother Yin? Ma San'er took over the conversation. Brother, don't think too much. You are doing very well. Isn't it good to work with Mr. Du? And there are many people in Yanjing City who will listen to your orders. If you don't work with Du Tian, who will you work with? Do it alone. Shinchen's answer was quite open-minded. If Mr. Su doesn't mind, let me run errands for you. That's my ancestors' blessing. If there is no such opportunity, I will start a small business myself. It's better than working for others. After a pause, Shinchin continued. Mr. Du and I have made a lot of money over the years. Although we are not famous in the upper class, we are still popular in Yanjing City. But I know how many people I have offended. These people are not to be trifled with, but they are not strong enough. If Mr. Du gets into trouble one day, the first one to fall will be me, Shinchin. It seemed that this kid was also very clear. Although he had a good relationship with Du Tian, once something happened, it would definitely be a big problem. This was 100% certain. Shinchin also knew what kind of reputation Du Tian had. When the day came, the monkeys would scatter. The only one who could stay by Du Tian's side was Shinchin. But Shinchin was now bitterly disappointed. Because of such a small matter, Du Tian actually said those words. Okay, then you will stay today. Let me see how much firepower you have. Suyin smiled slightly. At this time, the Mercedes-Benz Elegant that Suyin and the others had met in a traffic jam suddenly stopped in front of the nightclub called Imperial Capital Entertainment. Just as Shinchin was about to go in with Suyin and Ma San'er, the bald man suddenly appeared. Shinchin was shocked when he saw the suspicious person behind the bald man. He grabbed Suyin and gave him a look. Suyin reacted immediately. Following Shinchin's gaze, he recognized the person at a glance. A master of disguise not only needed the help of tools, but also needed the expression to make it difficult for people to distinguish the real from the fake. Obviously, this person was not a master of disguise. He could only change the superficial appearance, but his eyes could not be changed. Yes, Shinchin did not find the wrong person. Suyun's brows frowned slightly. The door of the Mercedes-Benz Elegant opened. Several people filed in, and then left. Suyin didn't dare to delay and immediately called Ma San'er to get in the car. Ma San'er was still lamenting about the things that happened here in the past. He didn't come back to his senses at all. When he came back to his senses, Su-yin had already driven out. He sat in the back row, and Shin-chan was sitting in the front passenger seat. Ma Sanner, who came back to his senses, asked blankly, "What's going on?" "The person has run away. Why are you still in a daze?" Shin-chan said. Ma Sanner was not convinced. "I'm not talking about the suspect. I'm talking about you. Why did you really follow us? Are you really not going to work with Du Tian?" Shin-chan did not say anything. There was nothing to say about things that had already been decided. Seeing the Black Qian chasing after the suspect, Earbook and Old Seven, who Shin-chan always liked to bring along with him, were dumbfounded. Earbook smacked his lips and said, "Old Seven, did our brother Chin go drinking with them?" "Damn it, other than drinking, do you know anything else?" Old Seven was speechless. "If you did not drink and delay things, we would not have been unable to sleep well for 2 days. We can't control this matter anymore. Let's go back and report to President Du." "Report what?" Earbook still had a blank look on his face. "Did you drink too much today?" Old Seven really wanted to give him a slap. "Brother Chin went to chase after that bastard with President Su. If we don't report to President Du, who should we report to? Shouldn't we report this matter to him?" "Yes, we should report to him." Earbook suddenly realized. "Then what the hell are you waiting for? Let's go back." "You can't drive." "Didn't I drink a little in the afternoon? Besides, I don't have a driver's license now." "You can't let me drive without a license, right?" Earbook was still in the right. Chapter 12:17. Once Su-yin chased out, he was on a road of no return. The Mercedes-Benz Elegant led all the way and directly got on the highway in the south of Yanjing. It looked like they were going out of Beijing. Ma Sanner was dumbfounded. "Brother, what's the situation? Are we going out of the city? What about my shop?" "Inside, there are still the things you bought at the auction." Ma Sanner glanced at Shin-chan halfway through his words. Later, he thought that Shin-chan wasn't the kind of person who would take advantage of others' difficulties, so he told him about the shop. If it were someone else, Ma Sanner really didn't dare to say it. If this person had evil intentions and arranged a few people to rob him, then there was nothing he could do. "I really don't have time to care about the shop's matters." Su-yin followed the Mercedes-Benz Elegant and got on the highway in the south of Yanjing. There was no time to hesitate now. Maybe a second of hesitation would miss the last opportunity. Once these people left Yanjing City, they really couldn't be found. Huaxia was so big. The land border was 9.6 million square kilometers, and the sea border was nearly 3 million square kilometers. Where could he find them? Therefore, Su-yin must keep an eye on them. There was only one chance, and it wouldn't come again. "If the shop really needs it, I will arrange a few brothers to help you," Shin-chan said righteously. He didn't feel anything. Since he got on this car, even if he chased them to the end of the world, what could he do? Anyway, he didn't intend to continue to work with Du Tian, the boss. No, it's better not," Ma Sanner said. "Don't do bad things with good intentions. It's okay if your people don't know about my shop. If they know, there might be some trouble. Just look at your President Du's narrow-mindedness." Shin-chan also understood the meaning of Ma Sanner's words. President Du was really too narrow-minded. "There's nothing valuable. Just put it inside." "Su-yin, it won't be lost. Even if it's lost, it's on me. You have nothing to lose. You can rest assured and finish this with me." "Brother Yin, didn't we agree that I can choose one of those things that I like? That means that there is also my property." Ma Sanner pursed his lips and said worriedly, "I hate thieves the most. I don't feel distressed if something is broken or lost, but I feel distressed if a thief steals it. I can't accept this." Su-yin didn't have time to continue to talk with Ma Sanner. He slowly approached the Mercedes-Benz Viano. Shin-chan reassured Ma Sanner, "Panjiayuan's security system has always been strict. Nothing will happen." "You really believe the people in the security system?" "The security company hired some idlers. They are not professional at all. Who would stay here to earn a guard fee of 1,800 yuan a month? Their monthly salary can't even afford to eat noodles with a poached egg." Ma Sanner said unhappily, "Tell me, with this level, what kind of thief can they guard?" Ma Sanner in the car behind was nagging, and the people in the Mercedes-Benz Viano in the front were not calm either. You can't even do such a small thing. What else can you do? The middle-aged man in a Chinese tunic suit said faintly, I told you to keep a low profile. Keep a low profile. If necessary, it doesn't matter even if you do things ruthlessly. After a pause, the boss in the Chinese tunic suit continued. What about you? What did you do? You found the most troublesome person, Du Tian. You did things carelessly and didn't take care of him properly. Now you're the one being investigated. When did you learn to be careful? Boss. No one expected this. The bald man smiled and said, according to our previous investigation, among the people who went to the auction that day, Du Tian was the weakest. That's why we went to him. Who knew that there was a brat under him who was so serious and insisted on finding us to avenge his boss. Yeah, in the past few days, a bunch of unemployed people have appeared in Yanjing City in broad daylight for no reason. Damn it. The person who pretended to be Du Tian on the day of the auction was called Xilan Hua. Usually, everyone jokingly called him Broccoli. Although this person usually didn't say anything, he was really ruthless when he did things. The reason he was asked to do this was so that he could make the most effective decision in the face of an unexpected situation. Broccoli, this is actually your fault. You should have just killed him. A skinny guy sitting next to the bald man complained. What's the use of beating him up? Xilanhua frowned. What do you know? I just didn't want to make this a big deal. Although Du Tian isn't the top in Yanjing City, he's still considered a member of the upper class. If we killed him and were discovered on the day of the auction, we wouldn't even have a chance to escape. That's a very good point, the man in the Chinese tunic suit said calmly. Xilanhua smiled proudly after receiving his boss's praise. Once this matter was settled, he would be able to receive a sizable bonus. This was what his boss had told him before. As long as he received this sum of money, he would be in for a great deal of joy. Then how are you going to get rid of that little tail behind us? When the man in the Chinese tunic suit spoke, his face was expressionless. No one could tell what he was thinking at that moment. Tail. Hearing the boss's words, the four people in the car all turned to look at the rear window. Through the privacy glass, they could clearly see a Qian with a Xinjiang license plate about 300 meters away from them. This car. Xilanhua looked at the boss in confusion. Is there a problem? When I went to the Capital Entertainment to pick you up, I saw this car on the way. It was also going to the Capital Entertainment. The man in the Chinese tunic suit said. They were in a hurry, so I asked the driver to slow down and followed them all the way to the Capital Entertainment. There were only young people in the car. They should have been there for fun. Why did they follow us as soon as we left? The bald man scratched his bald head. Boss, are you sure it's the same car? Of course I'm sure. The man in the Chinese tunic suit was a little unhappy with the bald man's questioning. Then what should we do? The bald man was a little confused. He didn't like to use his brain. Song Chong, I think you're really Baldy Chong. Xilanhua scolded. Of course we have to kill them. We can't let them follow us all the way. Don't worry, let's test them first. The man in the Chinese tunic suit smiled and said to the driver, fill up the gas at the service area in front. I'm going to the bathroom. The people in the car all understood the boss's meaning and nodded. They had just gotten on the highway. No one could go directly to the service area. So if the Qian followed them, they could be sure. They could just take action on the road. The highway was so dangerous. It was normal to have a car accident or something. The man in the Chinese tunic suit believed that his driver had the ability to make the other party fall on the road. He only needed to borrow the transport and logistics truck to make them die without a burial place. It wasn't as if his chauffeur hadn't done this before. He was very experienced. The man in the Chinese tunic suit narrowed his eyes and thought. You want to play with me? You're still too young. Learn for a few more years before you come out. Maybe you can make a small contribution to the people. You're not even fully grown yet, and you want to make a big contribution? Too impatient. Obviously, the man in the Chinese tunic suit had thought that the white Qian was with the police. Chapter 12:18. When the Mercedes-Benz Elegant drove into the first highway rest area, Suyin didn't follow in. His brain was spinning rapidly. This was definitely not right. Hey, brother. You drove past. That car entered the rest area. Ma Sanner made threatening gestures. He couldn't wait to help Suyin drive. If you're tired, I'll drive. I'm not tired. It's easy to get into trouble if I drive when I'm tired. Do you think they're fools to go in with them now? Suyin said faintly. He drove forward unhurriedly. We've seen this Elegant at the scene of the accident on the highway. The driver's skills are pretty good. He knocked down 2 cars and his headlights weren't damaged at all. At most, the front bumper was polished. Then nothing could be seen. Ma Sanner suddenly realized. So it's that car. It's actually an acquaintance. Brother Yin, you're not joking, right? Do I look like I'm joking? Suyin. If I can remember their car, there must be someone in their car who can remember my car. That's for sure. So they will inevitably be suspicious. Shunchun grinned. I pretended to be a waiter and went in to meet them. If we meet later, do I have to avoid them? It depends on the situation. This matter. It's hard to say. Suyin. If they're just suspicious and can't confirm it, then we'll try to avoid them. If they're really suspicious, then there's nothing we can do. Seeing that they were getting farther and farther away from the rest area of the highway, Ma Sanner was a little anxious. Then what should we do? We can't run in front of them, right? Aren't we following them? In the end, they're the ones following us. Let's go to the rest area and wait. We'll fill up the gas while we're at it. Suyin showed an imperceptible smile. If they're suspicious, I'll let them think that they're overthinking. If they feel that it's fine, I'll make them worry again. It's not that easy to leave Beijing so smoothly. Mr. Su is right. This way, the initiative is in our hands. They are not playing with us, but we are playing with their hearts. Shunchun said. This way, the other party will not dare to act rashly. Ma Sanner finally understood what was going on. Brother Yin, your brain works too fast. You can think of so many things in such a short time. All right, I think the other party is really unlucky to have met you this time. Shi Lanhua and the man in the Chinese tunic suit stood in front of the urinal in the restroom of the Yanjing Southern Expressway service area. Boss, are we overthinking things? Shi Lanhua asked suspiciously. When the Black Qian saw them enter the server, it didn't even pause for a second. With a whoosh, it overtook them and left. It didn't look like a tracking vehicle at all. This made him feel that they were indeed too suspicious. The man in the Chinese tunic suit didn't say anything. He focused on peeing. When he was comfortable, he adjusted his pants and said to Shi Lanhua, maybe I'm overthinking things. However, in our line of work, if we are not careful, it is easy to fail miserably. You are still young. There are many things you need to learn. Boss, you are right, Shi Lanhua said. I will definitely follow your instructions. In the future, I will be more careful. I will pay attention to any suspicious danger. The man in the Chinese tunic suit smiled. Then when you were drinking at the Capital Entertainment today, did you notice anything suspicious? Yes. Shi Lanhua said. We only ordered 3,000 yuan worth of drinks. The manager of the nightclub arranged for someone to give us a bottle of wine that is worth at least 1,500 yuan in the nightclub. Shi Lanhua said. Baldy and Shorty wanted to drink, but I didn't let them. I was afraid there would be problems. That's right. The man in the Chinese tunic suit nodded. There is no free pie in the world, and there is definitely no free wine. You can't touch things given by outsiders. I believe you have more self-control than the others. This is why I asked you to take responsibility for this. Shi Lanhua bowed deeply and said, Thank you, boss. I will always remember your kindness. I will live up to your expectations in the future. I am relieved to hear that. The man in the Chinese tunic suit nodded. The two of them walked out of the bathroom one after the other. The driver had already filled the tank and was waiting for them. Baldy and the other two were smoking cigarettes one after another. Because the boss didn't smoke, smoking was definitely prohibited in the car. These people were addicted to smoking and would definitely be sleepy on the highway at night. Now that they had the opportunity, of course, they would smoke a few more cigarettes and take 2 big puffs. The man in the Chinese tunic suit didn't want to waste time, but even though they had thrown away their cigarettes, the smell of smoke on them was quite strong. He decided to stop and wait for a while. When the smell of smoke on them dissipated, he asked Shi Lanhua to open the car door. When they got in the car, the man in the Chinese tunic suit said with some annoyance, "Smoke less in the future. You won't die if you don't smoke, but you won't live long if you smoke." The bald man and the others just laughed foolishly and didn't dare to say much. Who asked their second boss not to smoke? If the big boss was here, no one would give him a special supply of Zhonghai's ecstasy China cigarette to smoke. Then he wouldn't have to be scolded for smoking. They knew their second boss's temper very well. First, he didn't like people calling him second boss because this word left a bad impression in his heart. When he was young, he wasn't good at his studies. He had to count with his fingers for a long time when 3 + 2 = 5. One day in math class, the teacher asked him the same question. He didn't know how to count with his fingers and said it was 6. The math teacher was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He was already in the 3rd grade. He was 10 years old. He didn't know that 3 + 2 = 5 and still said it was 6. The teacher was so angry that he cursed, "Idiot." From then on he had such an indecent nickname. Whether it was the male or female students, they all called him an idiot. So he was very sensitive to the word idiot. In his eyes, second boss was no different from an idiot boss, so he didn't allow others to call him that. They could call him boss, but they couldn't call him an idiot. Another thing was that he didn't like people smoking. This was related to middle school. The girl he had a crush on in the school's grove was taken by a ruffian. He skipped class and happened to pass by when he heard the noise. After the two of them were done, he imitated the ruffian and lit a cigarette, saying, "A cigarette after love is better than a living immortal." At that time, he was a coward in school and didn't dare to challenge the ruffian. He just endured the smoke and listened to his goddess act coquettishly in the ruffian's arms. Since then, the smell of smoke reminded him of the grove that shamed him for eternity. 10 years ago, he had already hired someone to cripple the ruffian who had traumatized him. Later, the ruffian died in less than 2 years. However, the trauma still hadn't disappeared. His goddess was also expelled because she was pregnant in middle school. Later, she couldn't bear the psychological pressure and committed suicide. Of course, he wouldn't say these things out loud, but he definitely didn't like it when it reminded him of these unpleasant memories. He wasn't talking about anyone else when he said, "Smoking really won't live long." He was talking about the ruffian who left him with a shadow in middle school. The Chinese tunic suit admired Shi Lanhua among these people. There was a very important reason, and that was because Shi Lanhua didn't smoke. Now that many companies were like this, those who didn't smoke would definitely have an advantage in recruitment. Of course, this definitely wasn't referring to business-related jobs. If a business-related job didn't know how to eat, drink, whore, and gamble, then they definitely wouldn't be able to survive. This was the industry's rule and the country's national conditions. After everyone got in the car, the Mercedes-Benz Viano got back on the road. The Chinese tunic suit called Yanjing. It was a call to the burly young man who stayed on the highway to help him stop the 2 road rage youths. "Lei Yu, go check the fastest flight. There's a situation here. We're already on the highway and won't be picking you up." Chapter 12:19. Su Yun and Shunchen went to the next highway service area in the south of Yanjing and filled up the tank as fast as they could. Ma San'er and Shunchen went to the supermarket to carry a carton of Red Bull, 2 cartons of mineral water, and a bunch of bread and cooked meat. These were all things to prepare for a long war. After all, they didn't know where the car would drive from Yanjing to. What if it drove all the way to the southwest border? They also didn't know if the other party had prepared food and drinks for a long-distance attack. Ma San'er didn't care too much. He gulped down 2 bottles of Red Bull and squinted his small eyes to look out the window. He didn't know if he was wondering why the other party hadn't come yet or worried about the things in his shop. In fact, they didn't wait long before the Mercedes-Benz Yarrow appeared. Su Yun's spirit was instantly lifted, and he stepped on the accelerator to catch up. Shunchen was also excited. He really had the impulse to grab a weapon and attack. Su Yun followed the car out. Now that it was getting late, They had to get closer, but they couldn't be too close to be discovered. This was definitely a kind of technical work. Su Yin was very careful on the road, but he still couldn't escape the suspicion of the old fox in the car in front of them. Lan Hua, do you feel anything? The boss in the Chinese tunic suit asked lightly. Shi Lanhua nodded. He did feel that something was wrong, but he didn't say anything. He was afraid that the second boss would say that he couldn't keep his cool. Now that the second boss asked, of course he had to say something. Boss, I keep feeling that something is wrong behind us. I feel like someone is following us, but I can't sense it. The man in the Chinese tunic suit nodded. Yes, I feel the same way. Sometimes one person's feeling can be wrong, but if two people feel the same way, it can't be wrong. Shi Lanhua was stunned. Boss, you mean that car is still following us? It's not impossible. The man in the Chinese tunic suit said faintly. Do you understand what I mean? Shi Lanhua pondered for a moment and answered tentatively, because after passing through the Yinjing South Expressway service zone, we passed through another service zone. That car, is it possible that it was waiting for us at the service zone? Waiting for us to lower our guard before continuing to follow us? F***CK. Baldy quickly turned around and looked behind the car. He only saw a few headlights. He didn't feel anything wrong at all. That's very likely. The Chinese tunic suit said faintly. However, you're really good at keeping your composure. You've already sensed it, yet you're able to endure it and not tell me. With the boss here, I don't have the right to speak, Shi Lanhua said. Boss always has a card up his sleeve. Nothing can escape his eyes, so I just need to listen to his orders. I don't need to think about anything else. There wasn't a boss who wouldn't like a subordinate who had brains and knew how to talk. Good, very good. If you can tell, it means that you're more attentive than the others. I wasn't wrong about you, and you didn't disappoint me. Shi Lanhua, you're good. Second boss is praising you so much. You're the next one to be promoted. Baldy was wild with joy. He didn't pay attention and blurted out second boss. The Chinese tunic suit's expression instantly turned ugly. In front of a boss, it was obvious what kind of subordinate was likable and what kind was not. Compared to Baldy, Shi Lanhua's performance was even more outstanding and in high spirits. Baldy realized his slip of the tongue and immediately shut his mouth. If second boss was really angry, he would really kick him out of the car and run down the expressway himself. Baldy didn't know if other people would do this, but second boss would definitely do it. Fortunately, all kinds of subordinates had their uses. For example, this Baldy smoked and didn't know how to speak. He didn't use his brain when doing things, and would always do things that were critical of him. He would even say second boss from time to time. How could the Chinese tunic suit like someone like that? But this guy was a meat shield at critical times. He could take care of things and save lives. This was Baldy's use. He wasn't useful as a military advisor or a founding general, but as a scapegoat when something happened. It was impossible to complete a task smoothly. There would be all kinds of difficulties along the way. And when faced with difficulties that couldn't be dealt with, one or two people would have to be sacrificed. Baldy was one of those people who could be sacrificed. He also received a lot of money from the company, about the same as Shi Lanhua every month, but the things he did were much less than Shi Lanhua. However, one thing he did was equivalent to several more things Shi Lanhua did. If there weren't any pursuers behind them, the Chinese tunic suit might really kick Baldy out of the car and go back himself. But he couldn't do that now. If something happened, he still needed Baldy to take the bullet. All of you, be careful. We still don't know who has their eyes on us. We have to be very careful, Shi Lanhua said seriously. Shi Lanhua said seriously. He said that to divert everyone's attention from Baldy's second boss. The few of them nodded one after another, indicating that they would definitely pay attention. The Baldy, on the other hand, said casually, You still don't know? It must be that Du Tian from Beijing who slapped his men. To put it bluntly, his men are just a bunch of gangsters from all walks of life. They're not a big deal. If they really follow us, I'll slap them to death. His tone was enough to blow a bull to death. Shi Lanhua stared at Baldy speechlessly. Aren't you afraid that the bull will cause trouble for you? What do you mean? Baldy didn't hear the sarcasm at all. He still looked fearless. So what if it's a bull? Even if it's a F**king cow, I'll still slap it to death. There are no cows. You'll blow all of them to death. The shorty beside Baldy couldn't stand it anymore. Can't you behave and listen to the boss orders? Don't be so self-assertive. I don't care about this. I'm a little tired. The Chinese tunic suit closed his eyes. Lanhua, I'm going to sleep for a while. Tell them to keep their voices down. You deal with this as you see fit. I trust you. Yes, boss. Shi Lanhua nodded. Baldy stuck out his tongue in the back and gave Shi Lanhua a thumbs up. He mouthed silently. Broccoli, you really can do whatever you want. You even got second boss under control. Awesome. I'll follow you from now on. You have to protect me. Silly Baldy Chong didn't know that he was just a scapegoat in Broccoli's eyes, just like second bosses. There was no need to explain what a scapegoat was for. A scapegoat might not be able to help with anything, but once he could, it would be a different story. After the Chinese tunic suit closed his eyes, the atmosphere in the car quieted down. The driver drove seriously in the front without blinking. Before they set off, he had already taken a military pill developed by the United States. It could make a person excited for 72 hours without sleep. As long as there was enough water and food, not sleeping was not a problem. Brother, can we adjust the speed? Shi Lanhua asked the driver. Go ahead. The driver didn't even turn his head. Shi Lanhua said. Let's speed up to 180 first. Then we'll slow down to 100. Although the man in the Chinese tunic suit had his eyes closed, he still smiled when he heard Shi Lanhua's arrangement. Not bad, this kid could be trained. Only by doing so could they find out if there was a car following them. On the other side, Su Yin sneered when he saw the car in front of him speed up. He stepped on the gas pedal and sped up as well. You just want to test us? Fine, I'll play with you. Su Yin wasn't the sleepy type. He had rested enough for the past 2 days. Even if he had to chase them for a week, he wouldn't have a problem. Besides, Ma Sanner had prepared a few bottles of Red Bull for him. Su Yin raised his hand and Ma Sanner handed him the bottles from behind. Chapter 12:20. The Mercedes-Benz elegance was like a drunk wife. One moment it was angry, the next moment it was gentle and pleasant. Sometimes it vented its drive, and sometimes it showed its comfort. The man in the Chinese tunic suit felt a little dizzy in the car. Laissez had been driving very steadily. Even if you gave him a sports car, he could still drive as steadily as a business car. He rarely had the passion to drive so fiercely. This time, his passion was really released by Shi Lanhua. As long as Shi Lanhua said 180, Laissez would definitely step on the accelerator and not 179. If it wasn't for the fact that this was a business car, it wouldn't be a problem for him to go 250. Unfortunately, the maximum speed of this car was only 200. It couldn't run at all. This was normal. Which business car owner would let the driver drive so fast? Was he in a hurry to be reincarnated? With his speed, it was impossible to shake off Su Yin's Qian. Su Yin could be fast or slow. He steadily maintained a distance of 500 to 600 meters. This gave them a headache. They couldn't see the people following them, but they couldn't shake them off either. This was the most unpleasant feeling. They must be suspicious. Shinchin frowned. You're telling the truth. Ma Sanner laughed. One is fast and the other is slow. It's like they're crazy. How can they not be suspicious of us? I think they'll have a falling out soon. If they do, I'll be the first to go. Shinchin said. I'll treat this as the last time I work for Mr. Du. If I die, it's my own fault. If not, I'll deal with this person. It'll be the last favor I'll return to him. You're still thinking about Du Tian at this time. It's Du Tian's blessing to have someone like you supporting him for so long. Su Yun said lightly. Shinchin, if you really want to work for me in the future, don't be impulsive. Listen to my arrangements. I can tell you clearly that it's not that simple. I'm not just looking for a person, but an organization. Shinchin was stunned. He didn't know what Su Yin meant. The people who beat up Du Tian were just a few people arranged by the organization, Su Yin said. The person who pretended to be Du Tian was also a pawn of the organization. If my guess is correct, There should be a mastermind in the car in front of us. They must have sensed something since they retreated so quickly. Manager Sue, I don't understand what you mean. Shin-chan was at a loss. He didn't know anything about the tricolored Tang King. Ma Saner glanced at Su-yun. Brother Yin, it's not good to say so much now. It won't be too late to talk about it when he's really with you. Now all he had to do was to follow and do what he had to do. As for the other matters, let's put them aside for now. He wouldn't be able to understand even if I said too much. It's better not to say anything. It's just nonsense. Su-yun didn't look back, but he didn't deny that Ma Sener's words were indeed reasonable. It was indeed useless to say more. Your third brother is right. You should listen to your third brother's arrangement. Shin-chan nodded and called out to Ma Saner respectfully. Third brother, please give me some advice later. If I do something wrong, you must help me correct it in time. Brother, thank you in advance. You don't have to be so polite. I like to be friends with humble people. Ma Saner was quite satisfied with Shin-chan calling him third brother. Since you call me third brother so sincerely, then I won't be a third brother for nothing. If you have anything you don't understand, feel free to ask. Third brother will take care of you when we're doing things later. I said you have a big face. You're really arrogant. Su-yun laughed and scolded him. He said to Shin-chan, don't listen to his nonsense. He is like this. He doesn't say anything serious. However, if something really happens, he can really cover you. I'm really relieved that he will look after you in a while. What's there to be worried about? Ma Saner snorted. He's such a big person. Even if I'm a bad guy, can I still kidnap him? I'm afraid that he will beat me. Su-yun was still observing the Mercedes-Benz Elegant in front of him as he spoke. As long as the car slowed down, he would immediately release the accelerator. Seeing that they were about to reach another service area, Su-yun was wondering if the other party would still enter this time. The Mercedes-Benz Elegant suddenly lit up the brake light. The red dazzling light lit up in front, and Su-yun was nervous. After all, it was a highway. Braking suddenly was almost a gamble. The speed on the highway was so fast. If the car suddenly braked in front, it would be impossible to stop at 100 or 200 meters. What's more, they were now driving at nearly 200 kilometers per hour. Before Su-yun braked, he glanced at the rearview mirror and made sure that there was no car following behind before he hit the brake. In the process of the car braking, Su-yun still didn't understand what the other party meant. Did they want to fall out on the highway? Isn't this too risky? Shin-chan, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, stretched his neck to look to the right and exclaimed, President Su, the car in front has a car accident. A serial car accident. It's quite serious. After Shin-chan finished speaking, Su-yun could also see the scene in front from his angle. A large logistics vehicle was sprawled across the road, and a BMW M3 had plunged its head into the bottom of the vehicle, directly cutting off the roof, leaving only the lower half of the vehicle inside. Just by looking at this situation, it was obvious what the outcome of the people inside would be without guessing. The people were definitely dead. Looking at the result also depended on how badly they died. The cause of the car accident was very simple. It was 100% certain that the logistics truck was swaying in front. The BMW M3 behind felt that it had enough horsepower, so it had to overtake it. However, the logistics truck blocked the BMW M3's overtaking path. The M3's owner was furious and despised you in his heart. You motherf ***, how dare you block my way? I will overtake you to death. Then the M3's owner hurried to the right to overtake, but unfortunately he didn't see the logistics truck in front. He only heard the sound of the horn, and was prepared to give way to the left overtaking lane. In the end, as he dodged and gave way, the M3 continued to follow behind him. At this time, there must have been an emergency in front. The logistics truck stepped on the brakes slightly. The BMW M3, who had stepped on the accelerator all the way, had no chance to react. It plunged into the bottom of the truck and the upper half of its body disappeared. Of course, this car accident had nothing to do with Su-yun and the others. However, the entire highway was blocked by the broken car accident scene. Moreover, this accident had probably just happened and the paramedics hadn't arrived yet. The traffic couldn't move at all. There were already more than a dozen cars ahead. Just as Su-Yun slowly slowed down, in the blink of an eye, there were more than a dozen cars behind them. There were trucks and cars. No one could think about leaving. On the other hand, the crooked F-Zero squeezed out a path in the corner and drove away in front of him. He didn't feel bad even if the car was scratched. The most important thing was that it could squeeze through the gap, which was better than being stuck on the highway. After all, the quality of a considerable number of people in Huaxia was quite average. There were people everywhere on the highway who occupied the emergency lane. It would definitely delay the arrival of the paramedics. No one knew how long this would take. Chapter 12:21. The Mercedes-Benz Elegance was parked behind the tragic accident scene. Inside the car, the man in the Chinese tunic suit couldn't relax his eyebrows. Why was everything so bad today? Not only did they get into a car accident on the expressway, they even got into a car accident on the expressway. He really forgot to look at the past when he went out. He had a feeling that everything was going wrong. This feeling made the man in the Chinese tunic suit feel terrible. After all, there was an unknown car following them. Although his underlings were suspecting that the car was arranged by Du Tian, and the people who followed them were at best insignificant hooligans, in front of them, they were like baskets. However, the man in the Chinese tunic suit vaguely felt that there was something else going on. A real estate dealer was beaten up by them, so he didn't think of going to the auction to catch them in the act. He just went to the hospital to treat his injuries, and was afraid that he would lose face at the auction. Why did he act so different the next day and search for them in Yanjing City, so cleanly? There might be someone else behind this. As for who else could it be, the man in the Chinese tunic suit couldn't guess. If it was someone from the enemy, it would be easy. If the country wanted to investigate them, then they had to be careful. It was better to be safe than sorry. This was definitely the most precious gift from the ancient people to the man in the Chinese tunic suit. "Boss, do you want me to go down and check the back?" Shi Lanhua could see the displeasure on the second boss's face, and also the cold gaze under his frown. "You can't go." The man in the Chinese tunic suit said calmly, "You showed your face at the auction. You'll be easily recognized. Ask Baldi Chong and the others to check the back. Try to pretend that nothing happened. Don't make a big fuss. Now that it's blocked, no one can leave. If something happens, it won't do us any good. Do you understand?" Baldi and the other two nodded. They were about to follow the boss's orders. Baldi opened the car door and was about to get out. "Boss, I disguised myself at the auction. I even used Du Tian's face to make it. I pasted on my chin, cheekbones, eyebrows, and nose. No one should be able to recognize me, right?" Shi Lanhua asked tentatively. The man in the Chinese tunic suit still had his eyes closed. "Some things are strange. I'm afraid that what we think may be wrong." Shi Lanhua did not understand the meaning of the Chinese tunic suit. At this time, Baldi and the others had already gotten out of the car. Before Baldi left, he patted Shi Lanhua's shoulder and said, "Shi Lanhua, listen to the boss's arrangements. The boss is a hermit and has his own plans." "What the F***CK? I was just trying to flatter her, but I ended up flattering her instead. Who said that the hermit had his own plan? Why don't you say that Shan Pao has his own brilliant plan? This way, second boss will like you even more. Sigh, sometimes people are ruined by their own mouths. A mouth can do great things, and a mouth can also ruin things." After Baldi got out of the car and left, the man in the tunic suit sighed slightly. He seemed to be very satisfied with Baldi's departure. "Lanhua, the art of disguise is very difficult to master. What you've learned is just the tip of the iceberg. The easy part of the art of disguise is the face, facial features, and expression, but the difficult part is the expression." The Chinese tunic suit said, "If the other party is an expert, they won't look at your face. They will look at your eyes." Shi Lanhua nodded. Now he understood why he had been targeted. It seemed that he had met his match. "All right, don't think too much." The man in the tunic suit said, "Even if they catch up, we don't have to be afraid. If they want to make a move on us, they should at least have some proof." Shi Lanhua was stunned. "Boss, is the tricolor Tang King not in the car?" Do you think I'm stupid? Wouldn't I be asking for trouble if I brought that thing in the car? The man in the tunic suit smiled. Anyway, when the time comes, I'll be shipping it out in Yanjing. I left it in a precious item depository. Xilanhua was nervous. Boss, what if someone is watching you and sees where you left it? Won't they? Don't worry, I've already bought high insurance. If the thing is really stolen, I'll get a large amount of compensation. Not only will I not lose money, but I'll also save a lot of trouble. The man in the tunic suit was astute. The person who schemed against him, Humph, probably wasn't even born yet. After letting out a long sigh, the man in the tunic suit said, "In the future, no matter what you do, you have to leave yourself a way out, understand? I'll remember your teachings." Xilanhua said sincerely. This was true. In the company, the person he admired the most was the second boss. He was scheming, resourceful, and had quick reflexes. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't admire the big boss. It was just that the big boss was too mysterious. He was a behind-the-scenes boss who could coordinate the whole situation. Xilanhua was already the backbone of the company, but the number of times he had seen the big boss could be counted on one hand. Every time the big boss came, he would at most give each of them a cigarette, and then talk to the second boss alone. Before he left, he would give them a ring of cigarettes. Even if he wanted to admire him, he didn't have the chance. To the big boss, there was only mystery. All the big and small matters in the company were basically handled by the second boss. For more important matters like the tricolor Tang King, the second boss would personally follow behind the scenes. This was to prevent any mistakes. Originally, this matter was to wait for the tricolor Tang King to be sold to a rich collector who knew the value of the item before they left. But now that they were suddenly targeted, they had no choice but to go out and take a detour before coming back. This was a very necessary thing to do. Someone said that there wasn't even a media outlet at the charity auction. Who would know about the tricolor Tang King? Of course, they couldn't let the media know. If the media knew, there might be negative criticism. There might even be a group of people wearing expert hats who would stand out and say, "How can there be a tricolor Tang King? It's impossible for such a thing to exist in this world." Or something like that. And in this way, the circle of people who spread the word about the tricolor Tang King would be the circle of people who went that day. They were all high society people from all over the country. They might not be the richest bosses in Huaxia, but they would definitely be able to get in touch with those people. Once they got in touch with them, these words would spread to the ears of those who were richer and didn't even want to come at that time. What would the effect be? They would definitely want to see what an item worth 200 million and a half looked like. Once there were more people who wanted to see it, the value of this item would be even higher. By then, no one would care about its authenticity. Its value would be there for all to see. Whoever could buy it would be a symbol of status. By then, when the real bosses of Huaxiao appeared, the 200 million and a half fake Tang King could be sold for at least double the price. One had to know that the high-tech cost of this item plus the labor cost of hiring antique experts was not even worth 200 million. Moreover, as long as the tricolor Tang King was successful, they would immediately release the tricolor Shimin, tricolor Taizong, etc., a series of royal tricolor porcelain dolls. By then, the money would be rolling in. Baldi Chong brought Shorty Lu and Wind Ear along, and pretended to get out of the car to take a look. Then, he looked back to see how far the blockage was. Shorty Lu took out a cigarette, and gave one to Baldi Chong and Wind Ear. He quickly lit a cigarette and took a deep puff. He would have to hold it in when he got back in the car. Let's go take a look at the scene of the accident first. See if that person was torn in half. Baldi Chong smoked as he stretched his head out to take a look. You are so King disgusting. What's there to see about a person who was torn in half? Windear said, let's go and see if there are any suspicious people behind. Otherwise, second boss will give you a hard time later. Behind in the Qian, Shen Chen's expression changed. Director Su, those three guys are their men. Chapter 12:22. Shen Chen immediately followed Su Yun's instructions. He curled up his body and lay down on the ground. He wasn't afraid of trouble, but he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble for Su Yun and the others. Su Yun and Ma Saner gave each other a look, and the two of them got out of the car. Ma Sanner took out a pack of cigarettes, took out a stick and stuffed it into his mouth. Then he threw the rest of the pack to Su-yun. Su-yun also took out a stick and put it in his mouth. At this time, the bald man and the other two had already come over. They glanced at Su-yun's car. Because it was a Shun brand, the bald man didn't need to look carefully to be sure. Originally, the Kian was quite recognizable. Su-yun suddenly walked toward the bald man. The bald man was slightly startled. Behind him, the short man who was less than 1.6 meters and the guy with a pair of protruding ears became vigilant. As long as the bald man gave the order, they would definitely take action directly. The bald man didn't expect that the other party would take the initiative to come to him. It was simply audacious and extremely arrogant. Whether it was an uncle or an aunt, this matter couldn't be tolerated. Not to mention he was a baldy. He definitely couldn't hold back his anger. This was clearly bullying. "Brother, can I borrow a lighter?" Su-yun stepped forward. The bald man almost cursed out the word motherf***cur in his mouth, but he held it back. Su-yun saw that the bald man didn't have any reaction, so he said again, "Brother, do you have a lighter? Can I borrow a lighter?" As he said that, Su-yun flicked out a few cigarettes in his hand, exposing the cigarette butts, and handed them to the bald man and the other two. He meant, "Lend me a lighter. I'll treat you to a cigarette." At this time, the bald man came back to his senses. He took out a lighter from his pocket and handed it to Su-yun. Su-yun didn't hesitate to take the lighter and lit the cigarette. Then he threw the lighter to Ma Sanner. Ma Sanner also lit a cigarette and returned the lighter to them. "How unlucky. Why am I so unlucky when I go out today?" Su-yun sighed and said unhappily, "In the last service area, there was insufficient tire pressure, so I changed the tire. This service area is just 2 steps away, and I actually got into a car accident. Bad luck, really bad luck." "Did you change your tires in the last service area?" As soon as the baldy spoke, he regretted it. Wasn't it obvious that they were paying attention to them? Wind Ear was a little speechless. Baldy's words were F***king unreliable, right? The bald man noticed it too. He squinted his eyes and smiled. "Nice car. How much did it cost? I've always wanted to get one to play with, so I paid special attention to the Kian on the way. Ha ha ha. You bought this model when it was first released. It's a 4.8 top model. At that time, there weren't any antitrust laws. It didn't even give way to 26.3 million yuan. Su-yun said, "After paying taxes and buying insurance, it's only a few thousand yuan." Baldy Chong swallowed his saliva. His bragging was a little too much. Even if he didn't eat or drink for 10 years, he might not be able to afford it. Moreover, the vehicle and boat usage tax and commercial insurance for this thing added up to 70,000 to 80,000 yuan, right? This didn't include the maintenance and refueling. Those who could afford this thing had to be rich. Not bad, not bad. Good stuff is good stuff. Baldy Chong licked his lips. "Okay, I'll go to C-Sun's shop to take a look." Half of the people who bought these luxury cars weren't on the road. Yi Fala bought this car because he wanted to give it to Su-yun. Therefore, he went through the proper procedures to buy this car. Many people wanted to change to such a car to put up a front, but they didn't use the proper methods. There were second-hand cars, mortgaged cars and unregistered cars. As long as there was a way and they weren't afraid of being checked, they could buy Su-yun's car at 1/5 of the price. The key was that they had to have someone above them. Even if the traffic police were to check on them, they could really settle it with just a phone call. Otherwise, who would dare to buy it? If it was confiscated after 2 years of driving, even 1/10 of the price would be a loss. What kind of business are you guys doing? I can see that you guys are making a lot of money. If there's any opportunity, we can cooperate. Su-yun took a puff of his cigarette and leisurely exhaled. One more friend, one more way to make money. Baldy Chong didn't know how to reply for a while. They didn't come here to talk nonsense with them. Cough. Shorty coughed and said to Su-yun, "Friend, I can see that you're in the underworld, and you're doing quite well. We're all small businesses trying to make a living. Don't be like that. I can see that you guys aren't simple. You're definitely not in a simple business, right?" Suyin deliberately said. Don't hide it. If there's money, let's make it together. No one expected that there would be an ambulance passing by at the service station. It quickly came to the scene of the accident. Baldy Chong saw that there was a show in front, and didn't know what to say. He directly said, we should go. We'll meet again if we're fated. Baldy Chong didn't do anything. He hurried back with Shorty Lu and flapping ears. Su Yun and Ma Saner also threw away their cigarette butts, and directly got into the car. They'll follow you to the end. I don't care if you're suspicious or not. I'll eat you up. Shi Lanhua saw Baldy Chong and the others return in a panic and quickly asked, what's the situation? Why are you guys chatting with that person? He's not suspicious. Baldy Chong was a little unhappy. What kind of gangster can drive a Kian? It's already impressive if he can get into a Toyota Prado. His car is F*King close to 3 million. That Du Tian's Panamera isn't worth that much either. He's richer than Du Tian. Why would he do something for Du Tian? Use your brains. Hearing Baldy Chong's words, the Chinese tunic suit was a little unhappy. He glanced at Baldy Chong. We just went out for a chat and you were fooled? Boss, I'm not fooling you. I'm telling the truth. Baldy Chong was a little unconvinced. They had insufficient tire pressure at the service station and changed the spare tire. This is just a coincidence. We thought they were following us. The cigarette they gave you was drugged, wasn't it? Shi Lanhua glared at Baldy Chong. He dared to talk to the second boss like that. He really wanted to cause trouble for himself. Why don't you think about it? What if they're lying? Baldy Chong was speechless, but he still felt that he was right. Shi Lanhua, you're thinking too much. Can't you think of things in a simpler way? Let's talk about it. He drives a car worth 3 million. How can he earn that money for such a small thing? Huh? Can you afford it? If he can, it means that he's done bigger things than us. The Chinese tunic suit sneered. You're right. He's done bigger things than all of you. Everyone was stunned. They didn't know what to say. They really didn't know what to do. The second boss expression showed that he was angry. I've said it before. It doesn't have to be Du Tian's people who are watching you. The Chinese tunic suit sneered and said to Shi Lanhua, the person who bid against you at the auction isn't a simple person either, right? With the Chinese tunic suit's reminder, Shi Lanhua suddenly understood. Boss, you're suspecting that the person in the car is... I'm just suspecting. But you can't go and identify that person. Once you go, you'll definitely be recognized. The Chinese tunic suit said. They might only be suspecting us. We can't act rashly. Now it's time to see who's more patient. At this time, the road ahead was gradually cleared. The Chinese tunic suit said to the driver, Lazy, stop at the service station. I'm going to call your brother and ask him to come over. Shi Lanhua was stunned. The second boss had told Lei Yu to find a way to go back by himself. Now he was calling him over. It seemed that he was ready to fight at any time. He didn't know who they'd run into this time. Did they really want to fight to the death with them? Chapter 12:23. Shin-Chen hesitantly looked at Su Yun as the Mercedes-Benz Viano entered the service area. Su Yun followed them into the service area, without saying a word. The other party must have a plan in mind, so there was no need for him to avoid anything. Is this the rhythm of a head-on fight? Ma Saner licked his lips. Are we gentlemen going to use our mouths and not our fists? Or are we going to use our mouths and fists? It depends on the situation. If the enemy doesn't move, we won't move. We'll try to make friends. Su Yun said lightly. They are now in a wait-and-see period. If we can talk about friendship, it's best to pull them out directly to catch a big fish. Shin-Chen didn't understand what was going on. He was confused as he listened. How come they are going to catch a big fish? Are they going to catch a pyramid scheme gang? Mr. Su, who are they? Aren't we just going to catch one person? Are we going to catch them all? If we want to return a favor to Du Tian, then it's enough to catch one person. Su Yun said. But my purpose is not just to catch one person. Shin-Chen, this is the difference between you and me. That's why I didn't want you to come. If you leave now, I won't stop you. After I deal with that person, I'll cut off his ear and send it to you so that you can give Du Tian an explanation. Shin was stunned for a moment. He thought for a moment and said without hesitation, "I'll do it myself. There's no need to trouble Mr. Su with this matter. But before that, I still want to help Mr. Su to catch them all. Mr. Su, I know that you are definitely not ordinary people. What you want to do must be a big thing. I, Shin haven't done anything big in my life. I'm just a gangster. I haven't done anything that benefits the country and the people. To put it bluntly, I'm just harming others for my own benefit. If Mr. Su gives me a chance, I also want to accumulate some virtue." Ma San'er patted Shin shoulder. "Young man, you have a bright future. Your ideological awareness is high enough. You can see that what we are doing is a big thing that benefits the country and the people. Good, you have a bright future. Since you've already said so, then I'll make it clear to you. We want to catch this group that imitates the tricolored Tang King." Suyin said. "I don't know how big they are, but they definitely won't be small." Shin narrowed his eyes. "What's a tricolored Tang King? Have you heard of Tang Sankai?" Ma San'er said. "Sankai is the Tang Sankai, the emperor of the Tang dynasty." Antiques. Shin suddenly realized and exclaimed, "Aren't these things dug out from underground? I've read the grave robbers' notes before, so I know what grave robbers are. Are they grave robbers? Commander Qiu Zhongjiang? What tomb raiding officers? Even if they're underground workers, they're just earth masters, mountain-moving Taoists." "You even gave them the title of mountain-moving Taoist. You even gave them the title of mountain-moving Taoist. You even gave them the title of mountain-moving Taoist. They know a lot. What kind of business did Ma San'er do? Many of the people he interacted with in this business were working underground. He knew them all too well." Suyin coughed softly to remind the two of them not to change the topic. They were not talking about grave robbers. He emphasized again. "I just said that they're imitations." "What do you mean by imitations?" "Imitations." Shin was so excited about the antiques that he didn't pay attention to what Suyin said about imitations. "Do they make imitations? Can imitations of antiques be auctioned?" Ma San'er said contemptuously. "What the hell do you know about auction houses? As long as there's an appraisal certificate, it's all authentic." "But the appraisal certificate can't be issued casually," Shin said. "It still needs to be appraised, right? There are two kinds of appraisal certificates. The first is a technological appraisal, which is to test the technology of carbon-14. Generally, prefecture-level cities have such testing institutions. They issue certificates of antiques. The second is an expert appraisal. Some prefecture-level cities have their own antique associations. These antique associations have the qualifications to appraise antiques and can issue their own appraisal certificates. This is called an association appraisal. A few powerful auction companies can also issue an appraisal certificate with high credibility. This is called an auction company appraisal. Some well-known experts in the country can also issue an appraisal certificate, which is a personal appraisal. Ma San'er was an expert, so his explanation was clear and logical. "So what?" Shin didn't understand. "Isn't that still an appraisal? Where there are people, everything is alive." Suyin said. "Since they can even imitate things, why would they worry about not getting a certificate? Do you think that they can make the imitations so realistic without the advice of a few particularly powerful experts?" Shin patted his head. "Yes, rules are dead, but people are alive. Where there are people, there are rules. These rules are made by people. If they can make things, why would they be afraid that they can't make a certificate? Are you kidding me? These people are really amazing." After Shin understood, he said with lingering fear, "All of this was premeditated. Their premeditated plan has already succeeded. If it weren't for the fact that you've caused such a big commotion in Yanjing City during this period of time, and there were too many people looking for them, I'm afraid they would have already secretly sold this thing to some big idiot in Yanjing City's upper-class society, who doesn't know anything but likes to show off." Suyin said, "You've at least helped one person keep a few 100 million yuan in his pocket. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have gotten involved and let them lose a few 100 million yuan first." Shin scolded. Anyway, these people who don't feel bad about spending a few 100 million yuan have a lot of money in their hands. You're quite smart, but your reaction is a bit late. Ma Sanner added. As they spoke, the car had already entered the service area. Seeing the black Qian also enter the service area, Shi Lanhua was a bit worried. Boss, they actually followed us. What should we do? Broccoli, if you ask me, you're a sissy. Didn't I already say that they're so rich? Why would they call us? The bald man still didn't believe it. Even if the second boss's words made sense, he still believed in his own reasons. Once he said that, everyone could tell that the baldy was courting death. He was speaking to the second boss. He didn't want to live a good life anymore. He just wanted to find some excitement. Will you die if you don't talk so much? Shi Lanhua slapped the bald man's head and pushed him out of the car. Then he gave Shorty Lu and Wind Ear a look, telling them to get out of the car and talk to him. Of course, he didn't get out of the car because the Qian also followed them to the service area. Before the second boss allowed him to get out of the car, he would never get out of the car even if he pooped in his pants. The car was quiet. The man in the Chinese tunic suit took out his phone and called Lei Yu. Outside the car, Shorty Lu dragged the bald man into the washroom and scolded. Are you King crazy? What are you saying in front of the second boss? It's okay if you want to die, but don't drag us down with you. Don't you know who we are? What are you saying? Are you looking for trouble? That's right. Wind Ear also scolded. I think you're really crazy. Who do you think the second boss is? You should just listen to whatever he says. If something happens, you don't have to take responsibility. Why do you have to be the first one to stand out? The bald man was unconvinced. I'm being kind. Can't I be kind? The company pays me, so I have to do things. I'm not like you guys who eat for free. Chapter 1224. If this person was not convinced, no one could persuade him. Even if Baldy Chong's father came to tell him that the second boss was right, he would not be convinced. After all, he had already come to a conclusion about the second boss. The second boss liked people like Broccoli who could talk, and not people like him who could only do things but not talk. Of course, Baldy Chong was not convinced. The second boss made it sound like Broccoli was the only one who took credit for this mission. At first he could endure it. After all, Broccoli had a good relationship with him. They were brothers. But now he really couldn't endure it. He was annoyed when he saw the second boss ordering him around. Why didn't Broccoli do anything now? Why did they have to run errands? At that time, he had asked Broccoli to disguise as Du Tian because his image was more or less the same. Broccoli was just going to attend the auction. Previously, he had asked Shorty Lu and Wind Ear to get the invitation letters from Du Tian. Broccoli just drove a rented luxury car to the auction house to show off for a while. Why was his status higher than theirs? Why didn't he do anything? Why wasn't Baldy Chong liked? Why? Because of your mother ***. Shorty Lu, how do you think I usually treat you? Baldy Chong was a little angry. How did I do anything wrong? Why did I have to do all the errands? Who am I more lowly than? Shorty Lu said to Baldy Chong. We treat you like this for your own good. Don't you think about the benefits of offending the second boss? We all know what kind of person the second boss is. So what if he likes Broccoli? You didn't do things as meticulously as Broccoli. You are not happy with just a few words. Who are you giving face to? That is the boss, okay? The boss can't insult me like this. It's not like I don't do things for the company. Baldy Chong was still indignant. And what I said was the truth. The person who drove the Qian would not go against us unless he had a problem. Baldy Chong said. Otherwise he doesn't lack money. Why did he provoke us for entertainment? Wind Ear said faintly. Since the second boss said so, you don't care if he has a problem or not. Just pay attention. If you insist on going against him, isn't this slapping his face? He's a prideful person to begin with, and you're still messing with him like this. He wants to save face, but I don't. Whatever I say, he looks like he doesn't believe me. I feel good. Baldy snorted. Since they're paying you, you have to **King bear with it. You don't even understand such a small thing? Shorty was so happy that he wanted to slap him, but he also knew that Baldy was trying to appease him. The more he said, the angrier he would get. Alright, we all know what kind of person second boss is. Calm down. Come smoke a cigarette. Don't think so much. The more you think, the angrier you get. Baldy glanced at Shorty and laughed. You also don't think it's my fault? Then why did you scold me when you got out of the car? Isn't that for second boss to hear? Shorty said in amusement. If you were the boss, I would have anything nice to say to you. Really, as long as you pay me every month, I'll say whatever you want to hear. Do you still need me to tell you this? Why can't you use your brain and think about it? Baldy thought about it and agreed. He had been the scapegoat for so many years in the company and had made a lot of contributions. Every day he would hum, I want to go to the company, I'm not late, I love to work hard, I swear to make contributions to the company, and go to work, but he still didn't have an official position. Seeing that Broccoli was going to be a middle-level manager after this matter, how could he feel good in his heart? Envy and jealousy were definitely there. He was about to hate her. Go back and apologize to second boss later, and this matter will be over. Windear said, is that okay? Otherwise, we won't have a good time. I'm telling the truth. Alright, I got it. Baldy waved his hand irritably. PP. Stop nagging. It's just such a small matter, and it's never ending. It's boring. Just as they finished arguing, Suyin appeared behind Baldy again. Brother, what a coincidence. We meet again. Are you guys also taking a break to pee? Windear and Shorty Lu were quite vigilant when they saw Suyin appear, but Baldy didn't feel so. He just wanted to let everyone know that this handsome guy who called him brother and drove a Kian was absolutely fine. Aya, you guys also came to the toilet? Yeah, to get rid of the bad luck. Seeing such a tragic car accident, I have goosebumps all over my body. If I don't get rid of the bad luck, I can't go on the road. Suyin smiled. Brothers, you guys also came to get rid of the bad luck, right? Yes. Shorty Lu also smiled and asked Suyin. What about your friend? Didn't he come to get rid of the bad luck? Suyin knew that they were talking about Ma Sanner. Because Shinchin didn't show up, they didn't know that there was another person in the car. He didn't believe in this and fell asleep in the car. My brother has night blindness and can't drive at night, so I let him get enough sleep and drive during the day tomorrow. Because one person had to stay behind to monitor the situation of the Mercedes-Benz Yana, and it was inconvenient for Shinchin to come out if something happened, Suyin asked Ma Sanner to stay behind. It was just in case. Where are you going? It's so far away, and you still need to drive? Windear added. This was like an interrogation, but in fact, they were just trying to get information. If Suyin said a destination, and they were still at the place after that destination, they couldn't continue to follow. Therefore, Suyin had to be tactful. He waved his hand and whispered to Windear, Brother, what I do is those goods underground. It can't be seen in the light. I don't dare to tell anyone where I'm going. If I meet someone who is scheming and reports me, I will die miserably. Although Suyun's voice was low, he was not afraid that the other party couldn't hear. Anyway, the other party had a pair of protruding ears. Although they weren't good-looking, their hearing was definitely not a problem. Windear was speechless. You dare to talk about things that can't be seen in the light. Suyin could tell what the other party was thinking from the other party's expression. He smiled and said, I dare to tell you because I can see that what you are doing may be related to my business. People in our business have intuition. Intuition is really hard to say. Whether you believe it or not, I believe it. Brother, you are a badass. Baldy was stunned for a while. To be honest, they were really related. They were in the business of imitations of things underground. Maybe we really have a chance to cooperate in business. Shorty Lu pulled Baldy to stop him from talking nonsense. Brother, we should go. Okay, take care. We will meet again if fate wills it. Suyin smiled and waved his hand. Shorty Lu pulled Baldy back to the car, but found out that they had to wait here for Leiyu to find a way to come. They immediately understood the second boss's meaning. Shorty Lu and Windear also wanted to explain to the second boss about the Kian, but they thought that if they spoke now, they would definitely offend people. They might as well not say anything. At most, he would realize that it was a misunderstanding, and then it would have nothing to do with them. Chapter 12:25. Second. Baldy almost made a mistake again. He quickly stopped and paused before continuing. Boss, I just talked to them. Do you know what kind of business they do? Baldy's tone was full of envy for other people's business. After the Chinese tunic suit heard it, he was extremely unhappy. It seemed that Baldy was going to vent his anger today. What kind of business do they do? You talked to me. I really didn't know that you had such a strong ability to make friends. You found a good friend so quickly? Baldy heard the sarcasm of the second boss and was very unhappy. Yes, we are here to make a living. If we don't even have the ability to make friends, then what is the point of living? It is our ability to make friends. It is our strength and ability. Then tell me what the situation is. What kind of business do they do? And the Chinese tunic suit looked at Baldy coldly. I really want to know. What kind of business do they do that can make you admire them so much? In my memory, you, Baldy Chong, have never admired anyone. Since the boss can make you admire him so much, why don't you go and work for him? This is also good for your future development, isn't it? Boss, aren't you forcing me? Baldy said. This isn't me doing anything. I just think that you think too much. As the saying goes, honest advice is unpleasant to the ear. I am the one who speaks unpleasant to the ear. If you don't like to hear it, that is your business. But if I don't say it, I will be letting down the 30 to 20,000 yuan that the company gives me every month. I am such a person. I am serious and responsible for the company. Honest advice to the boss is unpleasant to the ear. The Chinese tunic suit smiled slightly. It seems that you have learned a lot of words from Lan Hua. Indeed, honest advice is unpleasant to the ear. But people who can speak honest advice are people with brains. Do you have a brain? Baldy was unhappy that the second boss looked down on him for having no IQ. His face sank. How can I have no brain? I think I am quite smart. What did I do to make the boss think that I have no brain? The Chinese tunic suit snorted coldly. Then you tell me what they do. Why did you believe them without hesitation? You just met them once. You call this having a brain? I believe them and I call them having no brain? That's called not being suspicious. The bald man said. They are in the underground business. If I wasn't sure, how could I trust them so easily? Although we're not in the same industry, we're still related to their industry. If he made a friend, he might be able to contact him one day and be of help to him. We're brothers from all corners of the world. They said they were in the underground goods business. The Chinese tunic man was stunned. You believe them just because they said so? The question is, why would they lie to me? The bald man said. They are the tomb raiders and the mountain-moving Taoist. They know the ropes. Who knows, there might even be Zhang Qiling in the car. Shi Lanhua raised his hand and slapped the back of Baldy's head. Have you read too many F*King novels? F*ck. Zhang Qiling. Why don't you say that old Dogwu was also in that car? Do you think the driver is your third uncle from the south? Be more careful. Don't always be tricked by others. F*ck. The bald man glared. Broccoli, don't be so cocky. You're taking advantage of the boss's tolerance to get physical with me. Do you really think I'm someone that anyone can bully? I dare you to hit me again. Baldy Chong, what the F*ck is wrong with you? Who do you think you are? Shi Lanhua said angrily. You dare to challenge the boss again? Do you think I won't slap you? Can't you tell that they're trying to trick you? The bald man was stunned. What do you mean? What kind of business are we in? Shi Lanhua said. Is it so coincidental that the business they're doing is related to us? We're in the imitation of underground goods, and they're in the business of digging up graves to make a fortune? Isn't it obvious that they're trying to get close to us? Tell me, why can't you think more about it? I think you've gone astray. You're suspicious of everything. The bald man said. I don't remember you being this kind of person before. How did you become like this? Can we still play together in the future? People who walk different paths cannot work together. The Chinese tunic suit said lightly. Baldy, your ambition can't be compared to Shi Lanhua's. The gap between the two of you will only get bigger. It's fine if we can't be friends, so it won't be awkward when we meet in the future. Baldy, I really admire you for this. At least you know your own situation. The bald man laughed and didn't hold back. Second boss, I know you don't like me. Anyway, you've already called Leyu. When he comes, you'll definitely be awesome. If you really want to fight with him, I'm afraid you don't need me. Then I won't disturb you here. If you have any regrets, you can tell me. Who knows, I might be able to help you in some way. The Chinese tunic suit snorted disdainfully. That won't be necessary. I don't need trash by my side. Originally, the Chinese tunic suit thought that if something really happened, he could use the bald man as a scapegoat. He didn't expect this guy to fall out with him so early. He didn't even wait for him to glare at him. Instead, the bald man acted as if he was a big shot. Little punk. Did he really think he was some big shot? The Chinese tunic suit didn't lack him. As long as the two brothers Lei Yu and Lei Zhe were by his side, he wasn't afraid of anything happening. They were on the highway, in the middle of nowhere. He also had the advantage of numbers. There was nothing to be afraid of. If the bald man wanted to leave, then he could leave. If he stayed, he would be an eyesore. He felt annoyed just looking at him. Second boss, take care of yourself. The bald man saw that the other party had spoken so firmly. If he stayed, he would just be licking his face. How undignified it was to live like this. I definitely can't live like this. It's too shameful. If you want to live, then live with dignity. If you don't let me do it, then I really don't want to do it. The bald man threw down the words and turned to leave. Don't you remember the company's rules? The Chinese tunic suit sneered. You want to leave just like that? What kind of place do you think the company is? Can you just come and go as you please? You know so many secrets of the company. If you don't leave behind a tongue, I'm afraid the big boss won't be at ease. The bald man knew that this was a threat from the second boss, Red Guagua. It was definitely impossible to cut off his tongue now, but since the second boss had said so, his meaning was also very clear. As long as he pointed a finger at the big boss could send someone to find him at any moment and cut off his tongue to prevent him from talking nonsense. The bald man didn't think the company was despicable and dark before, but now he suddenly felt that it was quite dark and scary. In the past, there were people who left and had their tongues cut off. He almost did it himself. Now that he thought about it, it really shouldn't have been like this. Just to keep a secret, they had to harm a person and make him unable to speak for the rest of his life. Wasn't this too much? Alas, it was fine if he didn't stay in this company, but he, the bald man, had done a lot of immoral things. The sea of bitterness was boundless, and he could turn back to the shore. Today, he thought that he had turned over a new leaf. Shilanhua still regarded the bald man as a brother. After all, they had worked together for so long. He wanted to say a few good words in front of the second boss, but when he saw the gloomy face of the second boss, he finally gave up. He knew that it was useless to say anything. If he didn't do it well, the second boss would dislike him because of this. That result was definitely not worth the loss. For the sake of his future, it was better to forget it. Chapter 12:26. Ma San'er had been watching the movements of the car. When Su Yin came back, he immediately reported everything he saw to Su Yin. Su Yin chuckled. This matter was truly interesting. At first glance, Baldy looked like the stubborn type. He lowered his head and walked towards the highway without any hesitation. Looking at his posture, where was he running to? He was truly a ferocious person. Su Yin gave Ma San'er a look. Ma San'er understood and sneaked out of the car to catch up with Baldy. At this time, the people in the Mercedes-Benz Yana didn't dare to pay attention to Baldy because of their second boss's mood. Baldy leaving was his business. No matter how good their relationship was, they couldn't ruin their own future because of his departure. Some things were predestined. It was all fate. People's fate was predetermined by the heavens. Which line of work you could do well in, which line of work you couldn't do well in, were all predetermined by the heavens. Even if you didn't accept it, you couldn't do anything. These words were all brainwashed by the big boss. There was only one purpose, and that was to make them accept their fate. Even if they died in this line of work, It was something that was predestined. They couldn't blame others. This brainwashing method seemed a little silly, but it was really useful. This made many of his subordinates believe in fate. Because of this sentence, they accepted their fate and felt that they could only do this in their lives. When the Baldy was feeling proud of his feat, Masaner patted him on the shoulder and said, "Brother, what's the situation? What are you going to do alone? Get on the highway. There's a speed limit on the highway. Although you can't exceed the speed limit, you can't be too slow. If you're too slow, it's easy to get into trouble." "What do you mean?" Baldy turned around and saw Masaner's small eyes. His face was a little ugly. "Brother, didn't you say that you were sleeping in the car? Why did you get up to send me off when you saw me leaving?" "Bro, that person is not a bro. That is our boss. Have you ever seen an underling sleeping in the boss's car?" Masaner said, "I also told you clearly that our boss said that to fool you." The bald man's eyes darkened. "Oh, so you're openly admitting it? Are you messing with me? Seeing that I was chased away by our boss, are you here to show off in front of me? Let me tell you, don't show off. I don't care. Besides, do you really think our boss is a fool? He's very smart. I'm just testing you guys. It seems like there's really something between you guys. Something really happened." Masaner chuckled. "But I'll give you two choices now. First, go back and report to your boss and see if he believes you. Even if he believes you, if he still puts you in an important position after you tore apart his face once, then I, Masaner, have never been in society in my life." After a pause, Masaner chuckled again. Look at history. How many ministers who didn't give face to the emperor lived long? Don't you think that's the case? Think about what you're doing. Isn't it easy to make your boss angry? There aren't many people who listen to honest advice these days. People like you don't suit the place you're in now. Your boss likes flatterers. But our boss is different. Our boss likes honest and grating people like you. That's why our boss is doing so well in the industry. Bro, think about it more. Opportunities are given to those who are prepared. Baldy became more and more confused. "Bro, what do you mean? What are you trying to instigate me to do?" Masaner's face darkened. "That's not how you use the word instigate. I'm just pointing out a way for you. Even if you want to mingle, you have to mingle well. Don't you think so? So you're saying that as long as I mingle with you, I'll definitely mingle well, right?" Baldy said, "Hee bluff. Keep bluffing." Masaner waved his hand. "I didn't say that you should mingle with me. Why should you mingle with me? I don't have any skills. I'm saying that you should mingle with our boss." Baldy's eyes lit up. "What? Become a gravedigger? I didn't know that I'm cut out for this line of work. If you really think that I can do it, then that's fine too. I haven't been to the ground before. Next time, I won't have lived in vain. But let's make it clear. I'm just going down to take a look out of curiosity. I'll stop after I do it once. I won't do more. Do you understand what I mean? I'll turn over a new leaf from today onwards. Do you understand what I mean? I think your head has been clamped by a door before." Masaner was a little speechless. "You really think that we're people who do illegal work? Let me tell you, the things that we do are suitable for people like you who have turned over a new leaf. What do you do?" Baldy smiled disdainfully. "Tell me about it. Let me hear how proper it is. Haha, you're quite funny. You told the lady at the massage center that their health care is proper. Who would believe that? Why would you ask them for a proper health care? It's better to go to the hospital. It's cheap and reassuring. If they paralyze you, you can still get some money to spend. F***CK. I don't believe you. Then I'll point it out to you. Are you in the antique imitation business?" Masaner directly said it out of anger. "Who asked you to force me again?" Baldy couldn't smile anymore. "You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Which eye of yours saw me fiddling with antiques? Imitation. Humph, it's you tomb robbers who do immoral things. Aren't you afraid that your descendants won't have a *** when they're born? Don't be so uncultured." Masaner glared. "Do you think that I'm not clear enough? Then I'll tell you in detail. Do you dare say that you didn't participate in the three-colored Tang Wang? What else do you have to say?" Baldy heard this and felt a headache. You're the police. You guessed it, but we're a little worse than the police. Ma Sanner seized the opportunity to boast. Of course he wouldn't miss it. We're Interpol. Have you heard of Interpol? Do you know what Interpol is? Interpol, that's awesome. Baldy had heard of Interpol in movies. Now that he saw one in real life, he was a little stunned. You're not fooling me, right? Interpol. Why do you speak with an accent? Don't you have an authentic London accent? Can't Interpol have a hometown? Ma Sanner rolled his eyes at Baldy. I won't talk nonsense with you. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself by doing good deeds. I'll be frank with you. I know everything that you've done. I have a spy in your organization. Do you know what a spy is? Baldy nodded. He knew what a spy was. He had watched Nicolas Cage's movies and knew a little about what a spy did. It was similar to an undercover agent. However, an undercover agent was a civil servant with status and authority. An informant was nothing. If something happened and he was hacked to death by the boss, then he would just be hacked to death. There might be some compensation, but he definitely wouldn't be given a job for his wife or children. Nor would he be given a first-class merit. If you agree to cooperate with us, then we might not sentence you to death. We might even give you some benefits. But if you don't cooperate, Ma Sanner chuckled. Anyway, you have no one to protect you now. If you don't cooperate, then you're of no use to us. At the very least, you'll be sentenced to 30 to 50 years. We'll also arrange for you to be sent to a prison with a bunch of broken chrysanthemums. You'll be able to enjoy the last moments of your life. F***K. Baldy was a little scared. If he had to spend the last moments of his life with a bunch of broken chrysanthemums, then he might as well bang his head against the wall and die now. If you're interested, then come and talk. If you're not, then leave. Ma Sanner said. I won't arrest you either. But as soon as you leave this service area, you'll be tracked and located immediately. If I don't arrest you, then someone else will. At that time, there won't even be anyone to put in a good word for you. Do you understand? Baldy took a deep breath. What if I'm interested? If I'm interested, then at least I can reduce your sentence. Redeeming yourself by doing good deeds is different. Ma Sanner pretended to be serious. If you do good deeds, then you'll be able to speak tough. Chapter 12:27. When the bald-headed man and Ma Sanner got into the car, they immediately understood that they were really targeted when they were at the nightclub. Mother****, they even pretended to be a waiter and gave us a bottle of wine. This group of Interpol really knows how to F***ck up. They can come up with all kinds of ideas. Looking back, they were really worthy of being Interpol. They were really bad **SS. Even the nightclub waiter was so good at pretending. He didn't feel anything wrong at all. How could he know that Shin-chan was definitely a regular in the nightclub? What didn't he know? He just pretended to be a waiter. Even if he pretended to be a boss, he could pretend to be serious. Brother, you Interpol really put in a lot of money. In order to follow us, you even gave us a bottle of wine. You are rich. The bald-headed man smiled and raised his eyebrows at Shin-chan. However, according to my observation in the past few days, the brothers from all walks of life in Yanjing City were all called by you. What kind of method did you use to make them work for Interpol? Interpol? What does that mean? Shin-chan didn't understand and glanced at Su-yun and Ma Sanner. Ma Sanner blinked at him. He didn't understand what Ma Sanner meant. After all, they didn't know each other well. It was normal to have no tacit understanding. Su-yun knew that this must be the result of Ma Sanner bragging, but now it was inappropriate to say anything in front of the bald-headed man. He said seriously to the bald-headed man, he told you who we are. You should think about it yourself. Do you want to help us or continue to protect them? You are the leader at first glance. The bald-headed man saw that the two people in the car were very respectful to Su-yun, and he understood most of it in his heart. Leader, since I am here, it means that I really want to cooperate with our criminal police brothers. If you don't mind, I can be your professional informant in the future. Brother Yun, look at how good this kid is. If we don't use it, he will feel embarrassed. Ma Sanner chuckled and told Su-yun not to expose his lies. Interpol was just bragging. It would be troublesome if Baldy didn't cooperate after being exposed. Suyin also saw the situation. Since the bald man was so interested in cooperating with Interpol, he didn't want to hurt his feelings. As long as you cooperate, we will try to meet some of your requirements, as long as things are done well. The bald man nodded vigorously and sold out his second boss without hesitation. It was because he didn't pay attention to it first, so don't blame him for being disloyal. Why was it that the second boss could kick him away, but he couldn't turn around and bite back at him? Yes, of course it's possible. It's too good. Not only did he want to bite back, but he also wanted to bite back fiercely. He wanted to let his second boss know that he, Baldy Chong, wasn't the idiot in the cartoon who could be bullied by Xiong Air. Leader, they have already called people. If I didn't guess wrongly, they are preparing to kill you. The bald-headed man said. Our second boss is very sinister. He is really hard to deal with. He already guessed that there was something wrong with you. After saying this, the bald-headed man couldn't help but admire his second boss again. F***ck, he was really fooled by this group of Interpol. But the face was already exposed, and his bald-headed man was also in the tiger's den. He didn't even have the chance to go back. Forget it, forget it. Since things had already come to this, don't blame him for being unkind. Oh, who did they call? Suyin was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the other party would want to do something on the highway. They were quite stubborn. Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. The bald-headed man said. The driver is his younger brother Lei Zhe. He alone is hard enough to deal with. If his brother Lei Yu comes, it will be even harder to deal with. Lei Yu is much more ruthless than his younger brother. If our second boss is the king of hell, then Lei Yu and Lei Zhe are the black and white impermanents under him. They specialize in capturing souls. Ma San'er touched the goosebumps on his arm. Can you not say it in such a superstitious way? Why are you using such a metaphor? I am not joking. I am telling the truth. The bald-headed man said. Lei Yu and Lei Zhe are our second boss's personal Rakshasa. They have killed at least 80 if not 100 people for our second boss. When the bald-headed man said this, he was very serious. He was also quite scared of Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. It seemed that these two people had really killed people and seen blood. Moreover, they had to be very fierce. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to scare people who made a living in this industry. What you mean is that they stopped at this service area to wait for people to come and kill us. Ma San'er wasn't afraid. With Brother Yun following them, he didn't believe that anyone could kill them. The bald-headed man nodded vigorously. That's right. Second boss already asked Lei Yu to come here. After a pause, the bald-headed man was still a little confused. It is reasonable to say that Lei Yu has always been following second boss. Why didn't he follow this time? Suyin immediately thought of the burly young man who overturned the two road rage drivers on the highway. If he guessed correctly, that burly young man was the Lei Yu mentioned by the bald-headed man. Their second boss's configuration wasn't low. He even brought 2 bodyguards when he went out. Brother Yin, the person he mentioned, we should have seen him before. Ma San'er also thought of the car accident on the highway. The scene of the burly young man easily throwing the 2 road rage drivers onto his car was still vivid in his mind. Suyin nodded and continued to ask the bald-headed man. Where are you going to transfer the tricolor Tang King? We're not transferring it. The bald-headed man said. Since this thing is being auctioned in Yanjing, it will be sold in Yanjing. The auction ended 5 days ago. The tricolor Tang King was bid at a high price of 200.5 million. A lot of hidden bosses already knew about it. They are all very interested. It can be sold for 300 or 400 million. Why do we need to transfer it? Then why hasn't it been sold yet? Shen Chun was a little surprised. Yanjing City was too small. A matter could be spread all over the city within a night. The bald-headed man glanced at Shen Chun angrily. Isn't it because of those guys from all walks of life? You guys are everywhere. Where are we going to sell it? If you guys expose us when we sell it, then our credibility will be gone. How do you know those people are watching you? Shen Chun was a little puzzled. Intuition. The bald-headed man said. If we don't have intuition in our line of work, we would have gone in long ago. Don't you think so? It's better to be safe than sorry. We won't make a decision rashly. Shen Chun grinned. This group of people was really organized and disciplined. They were quite awesome. They were able to handle everything well. So the thing is still in Yanjing? Su Yin was stunned. Yes. The bald-headed man said. The second boss said that he found a famous depositor and bought a high insurance to absolutely guarantee the safety of the thing. The main reason we left is to avoid your sight. Su Yin raised his eyebrows. Then where are you going now? The bald-headed man was a little hesitant. Of course, he had his concerns. He was only selling the second boss now. If the second boss and the others were caught, he had nothing to worry about. However, if he provoked the Interpol headquarters and the big boss found out that he was the one who did it, he would definitely be chopped into mincemeat in minutes. This was not a joke. The bald-headed man had to weigh the pros and cons. Chapter 12:28. Ma San'er's threat made Baldy's chrysanthemum numb and tense. Who dared to say that he was joking? What if he was serious? At that time, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. This thing was really not a joke. There was no medicine for regret. He had to think about it carefully. Baldy frowned. What should he do? What should he do? If he did it well, he could become an informant to redeem himself. If he didn't do it well, not only would he not be protected, but he could also be killed by the big boss at any time. This kind of dilemma really made it difficult to make a choice. It's okay. Think about it carefully. Don't worry. Su Yin said. We have plenty of time. Sooner or later, we will find the evidence we want. If you say it now, you are cooperating. If you don't say it, you are covering up a crime. The reason is very simple. Think about it yourself, and tell me when you have thought it through. It's up to you whether you're stubbornly persisting in going about things the wrong way, or whether you're willing to lay down your knife and become a Buddha. Okay. I'll say it. Baldy gritted his teeth. This time, we left Yanjing to avoid you. Because we are very clear that once this matter is targeted, it will definitely be a dead end. So we decided to go back to the company to lie low for a while. We will report this matter to the big boss and wait for the big boss decision. Ma San'er was a bit impatient. Just say where you are going. Who asked you why you are looking for your boss? We are asking where your company's headquarters is. Understand? Don't talk so much nonsense. Causeway Bay. Baldy finally chose to compromise. Compared to the possibility of his chrysanthemum being ruined, he would rather be killed by the big boss. Although neither of them had good endings, Baldy's character was still considered manly. He chose a straightforward one. A soldier would rather be killed than be humiliated. Those who said that a bad life was better than a good death were people without ambition and guts. Baldy would rather die than submit. At this moment he sighed in his heart. PFFF. Ma San, couldn't help but laugh out loud. Your grandpa. Causeway Bay? What, your boss is the gang leader, Brother Hao Nan? Are you trying to scare us? Why don't you say Penghu Bay? Penghu Bay is better. There is your grandma there. What do you mean by that? If we don't cooperate with you sincerely, don't make us feel suspicious. I am telling the truth, Baldy said. Our company's headquarters is in Causeway Bay. If I say even half a lie, I'll be killed by a car when I go out, okay? Why don't you believe me? Who would lie to you? Who in Causeway Bay doesn't know me, Baldy Chong? You'll know when you get there. Ma San'er looked at Su Yin blankly. F***CK, isn't this going too far? Don't tell me we have to go to Hong Kong to arrest them? Causeway Bay was no small place. Hooligans were everywhere. Out of 10 people killed by falling electric poles, 9.5 of them were hooligans. If he went, he would be hacked to death. Su Yin frowned. It was impossible for him not to have any suspicions. This guy's jump was too big. He was directly thrown out of the continent. One must know that one country, two systems were particular. If Su Yin wanted to go there, he would have to consider the consequences first. This would be troublesome. Two systems were two different systems. Each governed their own. This was also a loophole. Many people used this to register their companies in Hong Kong, and then did some illegal things in the mainland. They used the loophole in the country's regulations to seek some improper benefits. This was very likely. However, Su Yin did not understand. This kind of business was a crime no matter where it was. What was the point of doing it in Causeway Bay? Could it be that the technology there was more advanced? It was indeed possible that the imitations were better. Perhaps their big boss was from Hong Kong. The difficulty of this matter had increased by a few notches. CEO Su, do we need to go through any procedures to go to Hong Kong? It's impossible for anyone to go there just because they want to, right? Yes. If they really prepared everything and wanted to escape to Hong Kong, we really can't keep up. Suyin. If that's the case, they don't need to stop at the service area to compete with us, right? They just went straight to Hong Kong. We don't know where they are going. We will be dumbfounded when we reach there. In the face of Su Yun's doubts, Ma Saner and Shen Chen's eyes focused on the bald man again. They wanted to ask him if this matter was reliable. Go to Hong Kong for what? The bald man looked at them with a blank face. These guys must be crazy. Didn't they say that their company headquarters was in Causeway Bay? What do you think we are going to do? Ma Saner was a little speechless. Of course, we are going to your company to check the accounts. Are we going to invite your boss for tea? But our boss is in Causeway Bay. The bald man was even more confused. Yes, isn't Causeway Bay in Hong Kong? Su Yun was also confused by the bald man. He was a little surprised. Listening to you, this Causeway Bay you are talking about isn't in Hong Kong? It has nothing to do with Hong Kong. The bald man's head was swelling. Our company is in Jianghuai Province, Tongluo City. Tong as in Wuling, Luo as in familiar, and Wan as in unexpected. I really didn't expect it. Isn't this accent a little too serious? Tongluo City can create the sound effect of Causeway Bay. This brother must have watched a lot of Young and Dangerous series since he was young. He was too immersed in the role. Your accent. Did you go to Korea to get your tongue fixed? Can your Mandarin be a little more standard? Ma Saner scolded in his heart. Tongluo City, Jianghuai Province. Brother Yin, isn't Lunan someone's territory? Su Yin had already reacted. Jianghuai was Wei Yishan's territory. Wei Yishan was known as Jianghuai's smiling Mithriya. There was probably no one in Jianghuai who didn't know him. Your big boss isn't called Wei Yishan, right? Su Yin thought. If this was a coincidence, then it was too much of a coincidence. Old and new debts could be settled together. The bald man heard and snorted in disdain. Wei Yishan is nothing in front of our big boss. Everyone says he is a giant in Jianghuai. There are many people in Jianghuai who are bigger than Wei Yishan. He is just a drizzle. Why do you know Wei Yishan? Don't tell me you want his help. Haha, he doesn't have that kind of reputation. Ma Saner spat. What are you thinking? Our brother Yin wants his help? Are you kidding? I'm just asking you. When we reach Jianghuai, we will deal with Wei Yishan as well. Wei Yishan also committed a crime? The bald man was stunned. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Su Yin. Tongluo City should be the second largest city in Jianghuai. Moreover, cultural relics are often unearthed in that place. Your big boss really has a good eye for choosing that place to do business. He is much better than our second boss. However, our main target now is still our second boss's people. The bald man said. If Lei Yu comes later and you guys really want to fight, can I not go out? I will hide in the car. If I go out, I will definitely be torn apart by them. I am not kidding. Su Yun pointed at the entrance to the service area. Then you are in charge of watching. When that person called Lei Yu arrives, immediately inform us. It is not easy to be an informant. Chapter 1229. Finally, after nearly 3 hours of confrontation between the Mercedes-Benz and Su Yun's Kian in the service area, a shabby yellow taxi appeared at the entrance of the high-speed service area. It was almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and sleepiness invaded everyone. Ma Saner had already fallen asleep with a yawn. Shin-Chen also kept dozing off because he hadn't rested well in the past 2 days, but his responsibility forced him to keep his eyes open. He and Ma Saner had different identities. He still wanted to show off in front of Su Yun, so he couldn't just lie in the driver's seat and snore while Boss Su was resting. It was even more impossible for the bald-headed man to sleep. The leader in the driver's seat was so energetic. Even if he had to knock his head against the wall and pinch his thigh, He would never let himself fall asleep. However, every time he looked at Ma Sanner, who was sleeping comfortably, he would wonder if this guy was an Interpol. Which Interpol would sleep while working on a case? Not to mention the bald-headed man. Even a 3-year-old child in kindergarten would think that there was a problem. Interpol in the movie didn't need to sleep all day. They could take out a Desert Eagle with just a flip of their pockets. They could even start a car parked on the side of the road. Even if they were shot, they had to bring the bad guys to justice. How could they fall asleep without doing anything? The shabby yellow taxi obviously didn't belong to a regular taxi company. How could taxi companies have such an old car? This Tianjin Dafa was the mainstream yellow car from the 1980s to the 1990s. In the past, it was incomparably glorious in many cities in Huaxia. It ran rampant for 10 years, and its contributions couldn't be ignored. Once upon a time, yellow cars running all over the streets were a different kind of scenery. Before the yellow car appeared, there were also taxis in Beijing. However, those taxis were different from the taxis in the current sense. They were expensive, and they didn't stop on the road. Instead, they served various hotels. The cars were also more high-end, such as Toyota Crown cars. This was definitely considered a luxury in the 1980s. It cost 5 yuan to take a taxi, and the worker's salary was only 20 or 30 yuan a month, right? It was the appearance of the yellow car that broke people's dream of taking a taxi. It was cheap and comfortable. This kind of yellow mask should have faded out in 1994, because there was a red whirlwind at that time. Hangxiali led to a red era. At that time, Citroën and Jetta appeared. Huang Dafa was completely eliminated. By the time the Olympics are held, Beijing's Xiaoli and Fukang will be obsolete. Huaxia is even using Hyundai Sonata in 3rd-tier and 4th-tier cities. Some 2nd-tier cities can even use Passat, let alone Beijing. Of course, there were all kinds of taxis in Beijing. But the new problem was that it was difficult to get a taxi, especially during the peak period. It was too difficult to get a taxi. Everyone was fighting for it. Because of this, disputes happened everywhere. However, it shouldn't be difficult to get a taxi in the middle of the night, right? Although there were still groups of young men and women who drank too much at the nightclub and were ready to go home. The taxi drivers did not like to take these people. If they vomited in the car, it would not only delay things, but some of them were also unwilling to pay more for lost work and cleaning fees. In the end, they had to call the police to solve the problem. It was not easy to run a night job. Although the rent was not much, they would rather run out of money than to get into trouble. However, it must be admitted that no normal taxi driver would take a person to the highway service area in the middle of the night. It was too far to go back and forth. One job would take up an entire night, and the income would not be much. Those who would take this kind of job could only be unlicensed taxi drivers. It was not easy to feed their families. Now, Beijing was very strict in catching unlicensed taxi drivers. Recently, there were more incidents, such as female university students who mistakenly took an unlicensed taxi and were killed. There were not many unlicensed taxi drivers like Liu Handong in the principal's novel. A burly figure walked out of this yellow mask that was definitely scrapped. The unlicensed taxi driver also got out of the car and pestered him. "Brother, when you came, you said that the first service area in Beijing is this. That's why I took this job for 300 yuan. But how many is this? It's the third one. I still have to go back and pay the highway fee. I still have to work harder. If this doesn't work, at least 1,000 yuan. I said 500 yuan, so it's 500 yuan. I threw the 200 yuan in your car." The burly youth said, "You won't pay for this. I'm running a job to earn money. I know I won't pay, but you have to let me earn." The unlicensed taxi driver was a little angry. This guy's words were too interesting. What did he mean by he won't pay? Was the energy spent in the middle of the night for nothing? The burly youth was startled. "Then tell me, how much do you want to earn? Your broken car has been scrapped for 10 years. It's good that I dared to sit in it. You can't find a second person in Beijing who dares to sit in your car. You can only run at 90 on the highway. You can't even break 100 kilometers per hour. You have to run for 3 hours on this broken road. You still have the nerve to ask for money. I'm calling safety first. If I want to run, I can run for 200 yuan. The unlicensed taxi driver roared in dissatisfaction. The bald man pointed in the direction of the yellow mask, outside the window. Leader, leader. The thunderstorm is coming, coming. It's that guy. The one who argued with the driver. That. Shinchen raised his spirit. Ma Sanner, who was in a daze, also opened his eyes. He yawned and looked outside the window. After sleeping for a while, his eyes were still swollen. He couldn't see people clearly. Su Yun noticed the man when he came out of the yellow mask. Because he had seen him before, there was no need for the bald man to introduce him. Look, the thunderstorm has a bad temper. He will be angry in a while, the bald man said nervously. As soon as his voice fell, the burly youth over there grabbed the unlicensed taxi driver's face and slammed it on the side window of the yellow mask with a bang. Because of the violent impact, half of the unlicensed taxi driver's body directly fell into his car. His 2 legs were hanging outside, and there were a lot of broken glass on the ground. Because it was at night, there were no people at all. No one saw it except for Su Yun and the others. The burly youth didn't hesitate. He strode toward the black Mercedes-Benz Elegance. He didn't seem to be worried about what he had just done to the driver. At first glance, this person was a shrewd guy. His heart was as still as water. He was completely unperturbed. This person is really interesting. Shenchen sneered. President Su, I will take care of him in a while. What I hate most is bullying the weak. How can the unlicensed taxi drivers be called the weak? How many of them are not village bullies, hooligans, and rascals? Ma Sanner was a little prejudiced against unlicensed taxi drivers because he had been cheated by a small group of shameless unlicensed taxi drivers. Shinchen's explanation was very reasonable. If they really don't lack a job, who will take the risk of infamy and high fines? Can they not be the weak in society? Can the weak only be a group of civil servants who don't do proper work all day long? Their expenses are reimbursed by the unit, and they complain about low wages every day? I really agree with you on this. Ma Sanner gave a thumbs up and quickly asked Su Yun. Brother Yun, what should we do now? They found Lu Bu, but we didn't invite Lu Guanzhang. Should we take action? If the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. Su Yun narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect the help of his brothers in the special forces. The main thing was that he could completely solve it by himself. There was no need to make a big fuss. Now Su Yun's mind was not thinking about how to subdue them, but how to persuade them to take him to their Causeway Bay company. Chapter 1230. After receiving the call from the second boss, Lei Yu immediately rushed over by taxi. Because it was late at night, and he had to come to such a place, he had no choice but to take an unlicensed taxi. Even the unlicensed taxi was unwilling to do this job, so he finally got on this old yellow car. Along the way, Lei Yu was worried that the car would suddenly lose its wheels or break its axle. If that happened, it would be lucky if he could even survive. After all, even the legendary cars von Volkswagen had broken axles one after another, let alone this Huang Dafa from the 1980s. However, this Huang Dafa from the 1980s had been running around Yanjing without any major incidents. Only the engine made a few noises on the road like a tractor. Other than that, there were no other problems. This quality was definitely the conscience of the industry. It was much better than those awesome joint venture brands that only knew how to monopolize sales. Lei Yu walked to the front of the car and lightly knocked on the driver's window. In the driver's seat, Lei Zhe immediately knew who it was and quickly rolled down the window. After confirming that it was his brother, he turned to the Chinese tunic suit and said, "Boss, Lei Yu is here." Boss. After confirming that the boss in the car was not resting, Lei Yu opened the door. Shi Lanhua and the others in the car all greeted Lei Yu. A relaxed smile appeared on the face of the Chinese tunic suit. Lei Yu's status in the company was completely different from his brother Lei Zhe's. So Shi Lanhua and the others treated Lei Yu with absolute respect. They would never treat him as casually as they treated Lei Zhe. Everyone knew what kind of relationship Lei Yu had with the second boss. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the second boss's son. Where's Baldichang? Lei Yu glanced at Shi Lanhua, the protruding ears, and Shorty Le. He immediately noticed that one person was missing in the car. He knew that the second boss did not like Baldy, but if they quarreled at this time, he would lose his cool. After all, Baldy was involved in the tricolor Tangwang incident. If he wanted to cause trouble for the company, it would be very easy. Although the big boss in the company had the ability to deal with it, it was completely unnecessary. He quarreled with me for a while and quit. The Chinese tunic suit said faintly, since he believes that those who follow us are fine, then it's really not suitable for him to stay by my side. Lei Yu frowned and glanced at the black Qian not far away. He turned back to the Chinese tunic suit and said, "Boss, this time, isn't it a little inappropriate? After all, among all the people on the bus, perhaps only Lei Yu dared to speak to the man in Chinese tunic suit like that. If it were anyone else, they would probably end up like Baldy. Unless you have the ability to make the boss absolutely trust you, you can't question the boss's decision." After all, he participated in so many things in the company. Even if he didn't make any contributions, he should at least have worked hard. The man in the Chinese tunic suit sneered. "Lei Yu, have you ever seen me put anyone in an important position in the company who only works hard? What the company needed were talents, not coolies. If I need coolies, I can go to the labor market and pay 200 yuan a day. There are a lot of people there. Every one of them was more powerful than Baldy. You're asking for less than him." "Boss, I mean, after all, he was involved in the matter of the tricolored Tang King. I'm afraid that he..." Lei Yu's expression was somewhat ugly as he said, "Is this matter really that serious?" The man in Chinese tunic suit said with a sullen face, "You can ask them how Baldy Chong fell out with me. Lei Yu, I know that everything you do is for me and the company, but you don't have to think too much about this." "Yes." Lei Yu nodded and said, "If Baldy Chong dares to talk too much outside, even if I have to chase him to the ends of the earth, I will definitely catch him and let boss deal with him personally. Even if he doesn't talk too much, I won't leave a scourge outside." The moment the man in Chinese tunic suit left, he already wanted to kill him. If it wasn't for the fact that someone was watching them, he would have already asked Lei Zhe to take care of this matter. Lei Yu understood the second boss's temper and didn't try to persuade him anymore. He pointed at the Qian not far away and said, "Boss, we saw this car in Yanjing City. It seems that they have been watching us for a long time." The man in Chinese tunic suit nodded. "Indeed, they have been watching us for a long time, but we only found them today. I still don't know where they came from. But I would rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let one go. Lei Yu, you should know why I asked you to come here." Lei Yu nodded. "Understood, I will kill them." After that, Lei Yu looked at the yellow car and said to the man in Chinese tunic suit, "Boss, you guys leave first. I'm afraid it will take some time for the taxi driver to wake up. I will find a way to use his car and frame him." Although there were surveillance cameras in the service area, the surveillance cameras had blind spots. Coincidentally, the place where the taxi stopped was the blind spot of the surveillance cameras. Maybe the taxi driver deliberately stopped there. Maybe he even thought that if the passenger didn't pay, he would grab the bag and run away. But the difference between reality and his dream was too big. He didn't expect that he would be taken care of by someone else. The man in Chinese tunic suit knew that Lei Yu had a way. He nodded. "Then you do your job first. After you do it, you go, and we will leave." The second boss was cautious. He had to see the end of the matter with his own eyes. Even if the person doing it was his most trusted Lei Yu, he had to see it with his own eyes. Anyway, he wasn't in a hurry. If they left first and alerted the enemy, it might be difficult for Lei Yu to take action. Okay. After Lei Yu finished speaking, he walked straight to the front of the yellow van and pulled up the unlicensed driver who was lying on the door of the van. He opened the back door and threw him in. Then he also took off his clothes and got into the back seat. In the middle of the night, if they were seen by others, they would think that two gay men were having an affair. 5 minutes later, Lei Yu came out wearing the taxi driver's clothes. He also found a hat in the car and put it on his head, almost covering his eyes. Then Lei Yu drove the yellow noodle to the Qian where Su Yun and the others were. He added 300 yuan worth of gasoline and slowly drove the yellow noodle to the side of the Qian. In the car, Su Yin and the others were observing all of this. Su Yin smiled slightly. This guy was really bold. Was he going to do it so openly? Su Yin could also guess his purpose of changing into the taxi driver's clothes. It must be to frame someone else. Anyone who understood could see his motive at a glance. Lei Yu stopped the van and calmly got out of the car. He went directly to the Qian. Su Yin directly caught him off guard and rolled down the window. "Brother, what's the matter?" Lei Yu was stunned for a moment. He knew that the other party must have seen what he was doing. No matter what he said now, everyone knew what he was up to. He might as well be direct. "Yes, I have something to talk to you about." If Su Yin and the others got out of the car and ran away, he would definitely kill them immediately. But Su Yin didn't do that. Instead, he looked at him with a smile, pursed his lips, and shook his head. "Let's talk in the car." The bald-headed man sitting in the back of the Qian was stunned. What the F***ck is going on? If Lei Yu got in, the first person he would kill would definitely be him. He hurriedly asked Ma Sanner to change seats for him. Before Ma Sanner could understand the situation, the bald-headed man sat on the other side of the door and squeezed Ma Sanner over. Lei Yu opened the car door without hesitation. He glanced around. There were 4 people in the car, but he still sat in the car without hesitation. Chapter 1231. When Lei Yu got on the car, he saw a reflection on the top of his head. Baldi Chong. That bastard really betrayed him and became his enemy. This was what he was most worried about. It was also the reason why he did not want the second boss to fall out with Baldi Chong. Baldi Chong was brainless and easy to trick. The originally harmonious atmosphere in the car was instantly covered by a murderous aura. Lei Yu's murderous aura was very heavy. At least, it made Su Yin feel uncomfortable. An expert. Su Yin smiled slightly. As he spoke, he released his aura and began to suppress the opponent's murderous aura. Lei Yu was stunned. What a strong aura. The opponent's strength was definitely not below his. If he wanted to win, he had to catch him off guard. Lei Yu calculated in his heart. With the opponent's strength, he had no chance of winning. However, he had to kill Baldi Chong because he did not know how much information the opponent could get from Baldi Chong. Thinking of this, Lei Yu silently produced a sharp short spike in his hand. It directly stabbed towards Ma Sanner's face. If he wanted to kill Baldi Chong, he had to get rid of the person in the middle. Ma Sanner did not realize that the opponent wanted to kill him the moment he got on the car. He did not even have time to prepare for a heart-to-heart talk. "Isn't this too ridiculous? Can't you have some manners? The moment you got on the car, you called for a dagger. You did not even have time to prepare. If this dagger pierced his face, even if he did not die, his face would be disfigured. How would Ma Sanner survive in the future? He was about to marry his girlfriend. Did he have to postpone it for a year and go to Korea for plastic surgery? Then again, this was also an opportunity. Ma Sanner made up his mind. If you can't stab me to death, I will make myself as pink as TFBOYS and sing a song on the internet called Communist Children's Unity Song. Maybe I can become popular in half of Asia. At that time, the Huaxia girls would no longer call him Appa. They would all turn over a new leaf and become Ma Sanner's fans. Just when Ma Sanner was pondering about accepting all the reality, a hand quickly stepped forward and grabbed the short thorn of the thunderstorm. This move was really steady, accurate, and ruthless. Due to the direction of their seats, it was inconvenient for Su Yin to make a move. Even if he wanted to stop Lei Yu, he was powerless. Then who was the one who saved him this time? Ma Sanner felt a burst of gratitude in his heart. Looking at Shen Chen's bleeding palm, he felt a bit of mixed feelings in his heart. At first, Shen Chen wanted to come, but he refused. He felt that even if he came, he wouldn't be able to help. But now Shen Chen's help was a great help. Helping was a big deal. Without hesitation, he grabbed the knife that was about to take his life. "Your opponent is here," Shen Chen said coldly. To be honest, Su Yin didn't expect Lei Yu to be a master, a super master, while Shen Chen was just a ruffian in Beijing. The two of them were not on the same level at all. If it was another person, whether it was Lin Ge or Chou Yun, Su Yin wouldn't be surprised if they could catch the knife. Even if it was Ma Sanner himself, Su Yun would think it was possible. However, he couldn't believe that Shin-chan could do it. After all, he was an ordinary person, and ordinary people should do what ordinary people should do. Lei Yu was also a little surprised. When he sat in the car, he only felt the aura of a master. There was no doubt that this master was the person in the driver's seat. The pressure he released made him feel uneasy. However, he couldn't feel the aura of a master at all from the person sitting in the passenger seat. However, his full-powered attack had been caught. The price Shin-chan had to pay to grab the knife was obvious to all. The skin and flesh of his palm had been completely torn, and the wound had exposed his bones. Enduring the pain and still holding the blade, his perseverance was definitely not something an ordinary person could bear. Ma Sanner scolded. Despicable. Sneak attack my ass. Ma Sanner, who was about to explode, actually waved his fist. This was definitely not Ma Sanner's style. Ma Sanner considered himself a gentleman, and he liked to use his mouth and not his fists. Even he couldn't bear it. It was imaginable how much he wanted to slap the face of the guy sitting opposite him. Of course, with Ma Sanner's beginner's kung fu, it was not enough to deal with a super master. Lei Yu reacted quickly and stabbed out a second time. At this time, Su Yun, who couldn't bear it anymore, reacted at the same time. He turned around and punched Lei Yu's face. Lei Yu was only focused on dealing with Ma Sanner and the bald man. He even forgot about the most dangerous person in the car. The aura of the fist made people feel suffocated. Lei Yu only had a split second to think about it. After that split second, Lei Yu finally understood what an insta-kill was. The fist hit the center of Lei Yu's skull, and Lei Yu's brain was instantly broken. This was even faster than drinking. Looking at the limp Lei Yu, the bald man's chin almost fell to the ground. What the F***ck? What happened just now? He didn't even see it. It was too fast. In a flash, Lei Yu, who he had always admired, was paralyzed. Not to mention exchanging blows with the opponent, he was defeated without even seeing the opponent's move. An instant kill. Lei Yu was convinced. In the Mercedes-Benz Elegance, the man in the Chinese tunic suit watched Lei Yu enter the Kian with a sneer on his face. In his mind, he kept imagining how Lei Yu would stab the dagger into the opponent's heart, and how he would tear the opponent's throat open. Just thinking about it made him excited. That's right, he was excited. They dared to follow him and go against Ning Jiangsheng. That was going against the King of Hell. Boss, do you think Brother Lei will have a problem by himself? Too much time had passed. Shilanhua finally couldn't help but ask. Ning Jiangsheng still had that cold smile on his face. Impossible, the things that Lei Yu does have never let me down. He must be torturing those guys. He must let them know that we are not to be trifled with. Lei Zhe, who was in the driver's seat, was also dissatisfied with Shilanhua's questioning. He pouted in disdain. Who was his brother? How could his brother lose to a few small fries who were following him with a car? You must be kidding. Shorty Lu also flattered. That's right, that's right. When has Brother Lei ever failed? There definitely won't be a problem. Just as everyone was waiting confidently for Lei Yu to get out of the car and greet them, the door opened and Lei Yu was kicked out. He fell to the ground without any reaction. The bald guy got out of the car right after him. Everyone in the Mercedes-Benz Elegance was stunned. In the Kian, Ma Sanner was carefully looking for all the hygienic items to bandage Shin-chan's wound. The wound was very deep, but fortunately, Su Yun had some special medicine. The bleeding stopped very quickly. Ma Sanner was patient enough to bandage Shin-chan's wound, because he was grateful for Shin-chan's righteousness. Then the door of the driver's seat opened. Su Yun got out of the car and lit a cigarette. He provocatively raised his middle finger at the Mercedes-Benz Elegance. It was an unceremonious disdain. Lei Zhe's head buzzed. How could he sit still when he saw his brother's limp body? He was going to fight it out with these people. Even if he had to give up his life, he would never let go of the few people who made his brother like this. Drive. Go now. Ning Jiangsheng gave Lei Zhe an order that he couldn't understand at all. Lei Zhe looked at his second boss in shock. He had 1,000 words in his heart, but he didn't know what to say. Chapter 1232. Then what about my brother? Lei did not react at first, but he soon understood that the second boss was going to abandon his brother. If Baldi Chong was abandoned because of his hard work, then what about his brother? His brother Lei Yu had solved so many problems for the company over the years. Did Ning Jiangxing not remember? Now that Lei Yu was kicked out of the car, Ning Jiangxing was leaving just like that. He did not even hesitate. What was this? Everyone said that he, Ning Jiangxing, had always taken good care of Lei Yu, but now it seemed that it was just the icing on the cake. And now, when Lei Yu needed Ning Jiangxing's help, he ran away faster than anyone else. Maybe your brother is already dead. Are you going to risk your life for a dead man? Ning Jiangxing scolded. I told you to drive away, so drive away. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Am I the boss or are you the boss? Seeing the second boss so agitated, Xilanhua quickly pacified him. Boss, it's not Lei Zai's fault. He was just anxious to save his brother. After all, Lei Yu is the one in danger. We are all very anxious. Ning Jiangxing glared. You are anxious? Am I not anxious? Let me tell you. I am more anxious than any of you. Lei Yu was groomed by me. Do you think I don't care about my own people? After a pause, Ning Jiangxing continued. I told you to leave quickly for your own good. Lei Yu was crippled and betrayed Baldi Chong. That's enough. I don't want anything to happen to you. Can't you see what I'm thinking? I'm doing this for your own good. I think you're just trying to save your own life, Lei Zai said coldly. If you want to leave, that's your problem. I will never leave my brother behind. With that, Lei Zai kicked open the car door and got out of the car without hesitation. Although Lei Yu often scolded him for the things he did, he knew that it was all because his brother expected better from him. He was strict with him for his own good. A friend in need is a friend indeed. At times like this, kinship and brotherly love were different from other friendships. This was how family should be. Lei Zai got out of the car. Xilanhua looked at his second boss in confusion. Was he going to let him pass just like that? Shorty Lu was also at a loss. He looked at the second boss and then at Xilanhua. As a lackey, he needed someone to give him orders. Otherwise, he wouldn't know what to do. Protruding ears' eyes followed Leisha. He felt that it was a pity that Leisha valued his family so much. He knew that there was a tiger in the mountain, but he still chose to go to the mountain. He was much better than most people. Boss, what should we do? Xilanhua couldn't take it anymore. He had to get a clear order from his second boss. Ning Jiangxing's face was cold. He took one last look at Lei Zai, who was walking away. He looked at Xilanhua emotionlessly. Don't tell me you don't even know how to drive a car. Lanhua, I value you because you have a brain. Xilanhua was stunned. He understood what Lei Zai meant. Since Lei Zai had decided not to leave with them, Lei Zai had abandoned him quickly. Lei Yu and Lei Zai were envied by many people. Lei Yu and Lei Zai were appreciated by the second boss. They earned a lot of money and had a high status. They were definitely not on the same level as them. However, now that they were in trouble, they were abandoned without hesitation. Ning Jiangxing didn't feel that he had done anything wrong. It was the same logic as playing chess. In an emergency, one could sacrifice the pawn to protect the rook. At this moment, he, Ning Jiangxing, was the rook to protect the general. No matter who he abandoned, he had to protect himself. Drive. Go. Ning Jiangxing made the decision without hesitation. While Lei Zai got out of the car, he might be able to help them for a while. Xilanhua gritted his teeth and finally made the decision. Go. At this time, everyone had to take care of themselves. Anyway, Lei Zai volunteered to help his brother. The order to leave was given by his second boss. He couldn't blame him. The Mercedes-Benz Elegant left Lei Zai behind and quickly left for Jianghuai. Lei Zai wasn't surprised. The moment he got out of the car, he knew that this was bound to happen. The second boss cherished his life very much. How could he not escape? Su Yun looked at the Mercedes-Benz in the distance and sneered in his heart. Human nature was so fragile. Once they encountered a serious conflict of interest with themselves, there were too many people who only cared about themselves. Your boss has left. What are you doing here? Su Yun didn't smoke the cigarette in his hand. He smiled at Lei Zai, who was walking in front of him. Lei Zai looked coldly at Su Yun, and then at his brother who was lying on the ground. He narrowed his triangular eyes and said coldly, "My brother is dead? Look at what you're saying. We are not murderous demons. Why would we kill people for no reason?" Su-yin was still smiling. "It's just that your brother deserved to die for what he did." Lei snorted. Knowing that his brother wasn't dead, he relaxed a lot. "What do you want? The people you want to deal with are not us. They are the people in the car. The people in the car have left. I don't think we have anything to do with each other. If you say there isn't, then there really isn't. But you can't say that," Su-yin said. "After all, we are people of status. How would I know if you have cut ties with each other?" The bald man trembled as he looked at Lei. He was afraid that Lei would kill him. "It was my second boss who was heartless first. If you have any grievances, go look for him. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't touch Brother Lei. You don't have the ability to touch him." Lei glanced at the bald man in disdain. He couldn't be bothered to argue with the bald man. He asked Su-yin directly, "What do you want to let my brother go?" The bald man heard this and immediately reminded Lei, "They are the Interpol. Do you think they will let you go? I can redeem myself now because I didn't kill anyone. The two of you are different." The bald man's words sounded like he was going to report them. Lei clenched his fist, and the bald man quickly hid behind Su-yin. "We are different. If I get the chance, I will make you regret it." Lei didn't forget to threaten the bald man at this time. The bald man heard the threat and kept shrinking his head. Su-yin smiled. "I'm afraid it's not your turn to threaten people. The one who should be threatening people is me. What do you think?" Lei seemed to be prepared. He raised his head and looked at Su-yin. "Since I'm here, it means that I dare to say anything. The person in the car is our second boss, Ning Jiangsheng. He has escaped back to the headquarters in Jianghuai. We already knew that." Ma Saner bandaged Shenchen's wound and opened the car door. "Causeway Bay, we want to know who your boss is." Ma Saner looked at the bald man in disdain. "This little monk is too arrogant. He said he hasn't seen the big boss many times." "Humph, we haven't seen the big boss many times either," Lei said. "Since the bald man has already told you what I know, I have nothing else to say. If you want to know who our big boss is, you can only chase after our second boss and ask him." It seemed that the bald man and Lei weren't lying. Their big boss was indeed mysterious. Su-yin threw the cigarette butt on the ground and stepped on it. "We are not in a hurry to leave. Wait for the police." Lei's face changed. "What do you mean?" "Coincidentally, the dashcam in my car captured the scene of your brother robbing a taxi. You guys should cooperate." Su-yin smiled. "If you want to resist, that's fine. I'll play with you." Chapter 1233. The appearance of the police made the baldy's legs and stomach tremble a little. But Su-yin did not push him out, because if they wanted to go to Jianghuai's Tongluo city to find someone, it would be really inconvenient if they didn't have someone familiar with the place. Compared to Lei Yu and Lei, Baldy was easier to control. At least, he wouldn't be able to cause any trouble. He was different from Lei Yu and Lei. Sending them to the detention center was the best choice. Once they were there, it didn't matter if they harmed others or were harmed by others. It was a dog-eat-dog situation. Lei didn't resist and allowed the police to handcuff him. The reason was too simple. Only if he cooperated well could his brother get timely treatment in the hospital. If his brother had an accident because the treatment was late, he would feel guilty for the rest of his life. For his brother's sake, he was willing to accept it. At most, he would deal with the prison bully and wait for his brother to come in and enjoy his life. As he had fallen out with his second boss, Lei knew that no one would come to bail them out. Fortunately, it wasn't easy for the police to find evidence of their crimes. At most, they would be locked up for a while. As long as they could stand firm in the detention center, they would be able to contact the people inside and find a way to get them out. There was a saying that there is always a way out. Lei wasn't worried that his life would be ruined if he was locked up. The police took Lei Yu, Lei, and the unlicensed taxi driver away. The yellow-faced car that represented the yellow tornado of the 1980s was also towed away to be scrapped. When the unlicensed taxi driver woke up, he was still confused. He didn't even know what had happened. Just like that, he was fined 5,000 yuan. The car was also gone. This was what it meant to be unlucky. For no reason at all, he accepted a job that didn't pay him. Moreover, he was beaten up for no reason at all. It didn't matter. He could tolerate it. However, he couldn't accept being fined 5,000 yuan by the police. When he bought the car, he spent less than 2,000 yuan. It wasn't that he didn't expect to be caught by the police. If he was caught, he would definitely throw the car away and run away. He definitely wouldn't be so stupid as to wait for the police to issue him a ticket. But this time, when he opened his eyes and woke up, the police had already written a ticket in front of him. Moreover, they were in a high-speed service area. There was nowhere to hide. What the F***ck is this? Brother, please do me a favor. I really don't know anything. The unlicensed driver immediately pretended to be stupid. This car isn't mine. I don't know how I fainted in here, but I must have been robbed. Aya, you didn't rob me, right? The black cab driver's performance was quite exaggerated. Stop yelling. Their dashcam had already recorded it. What are you still yelling about? If you keep talking, I'll add a crime of obstructing law enforcement to your name. By then, you won't even have a place to cry. The police were awesome. With just one sentence, the unlicensed taxi driver lost his temper and didn't dare to say a word. Su Yin shook the police leader's hand gratefully. Thanks to your timely arrival, the service area is now peaceful. If it wasn't for you, who knows what would have happened tonight? The police leader was quite satisfied with today's incident. Today's incident was like killing many birds with one stone. It was equivalent to completing 3 cases at the same time. One was robbery, one was assault with a knife, and one was driving an unlicensed car. 3 cases were completed together. How could he not feel good about it? When he returned, the leader would definitely praise him. Thank you for your cooperation. Ha ha ha, you're also a good citizen. If Huaxia could have more people like you, then the world would have more love. The police leader was good at talking. He flattered Su Yun. If there's a chance, I'll arrange for someone to issue you a certificate for Good Samaritan. You should be the role model of the Communist Youth League and the idol of the young pioneers. Su Yun was speechless, but he had no choice but to nod. Leader, you are praising me to the heavens. This is what I should do. It's not a big deal. It's just a small matter, a small matter. It's nothing worth mentioning. It's been hard on all of you in the middle of the night. You should go back early to report and rest early. Okay. We won't delay your journey. The police leader nodded and said, We're leaving. Drive carefully on the road. Take note, don't drive when you're tired. If you're tired, take a nap in the service area. It won't take much time. You have to concentrate while driving. Holding the steering wheel is like stepping into the gates of hell. It's said that in the world of martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. That's why speed is so fast. This leader seemed to have been lectured too much. He liked to nag. Or rather, he might have been transferred from the traffic department, so he had an occupational disease. He had to say a few words about safe driving. Although his nagging was a little annoying, he had good intentions. Su Yun could still understand this and would definitely accept it. Yes. I will remember leader's words in my heart. I will definitely follow the traffic laws. I will definitely not break the rules or exceed the speed limit. Safety first, speed second. Yes. That's right. Safety first, speed second. What you said makes sense. I like it. I will definitely spread this saying. The police leader smiled and patted Su Yun's shoulder. He shouted to his subordinates, Let's go. After they left with Lei Yu and Lei Zhe, Ma Saner complained. That leader is so talkative. He just took them away, but he still wants to educate us on safe driving. Damn it. He had good intentions. Su Yun stared at him. Do you have aversion to leaders? I might really have it. I have to go to the hospital to take a look. Ma Saner mocked himself. If I'm really sick, I will take a look. I can't let myself be sick beyond cure. Su Yun ignored him and looked back at Shinchen. How about you? How's your hand? President Su, what medicine did you apply on me? Shin-chan was surprised and was about to ask Su-yin about it. He had such a big scar on his hand. It was quite serious when the police checked it just now. But now it was slowly healing. It was simply amazing. That must be amazing. Su-yin had used the Heaven Fragrance Ointment and the Yellow Bone Pill on Shin-chan. Shin-chan's injury should be fine by dawn. He could even grab things directly. If he was in a good mood, he could even chop people with a knife. Brother Yin must have given you something good, Ma Sanner said. You know what? You can't buy this in the underground world's black market without hundreds of thousands of yuan. Shin-chan believed that Ma Sanner was not bragging. It was the first time he had seen such a magical medicine for external injuries. It was really amazing. This medicine definitely had a price. Thinking about those who were chopped up, how could they not be willing to fork out money when they were in great pain? Of course, they were willing to fork out money. What about 200,000 or 300,000? If it were him, he would definitely be willing to fork out this price. Okay, we should be on our way. Su-yin stretched lazily. I reckon they're already rushing back to Jianghuai to report the news. We can't be too late. If we're too late, the people who are prepared to welcome us will be too anxious. Will there be an ambush if we go? Ma Sanner asked. Su-yin nodded. If we are late, there will definitely be an ambush. If we arrive earlier, the ambush might not be ready. Then what are we waiting for? I will drive. Brother Yin, we will switch shifts. We can't give them a chance to prepare. Ma Sanner began to be active. Shin-chan frowned. I think they will definitely be ready with a call. Whether we arrive early or late, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape. Someone will greet us properly. This made sense. Ma Sanner hesitated again. No, the second boss won't easily call the big boss to trouble him. If he can solve the problem, he will solve it himself. He is also afraid of being scolded by the big boss. The bald man said, so the earlier you go, the better it is for you. Chapter 1234. After the whole thing was over, Baldy's attitude towards Su-yin and the others had changed a little. He also seriously considered some problems. When they were on the road again, Baldy finally asked, You guys aren't Interpol, right? Ma Sanner raised his eyebrows. What do you mean? Why would Interpol need to cooperate with our mainland's police? It's bullshit. Baldy was a little depressed. If you ask me, you guys just think that I'm honest, so you guys tricked me. I really should have known that this isn't the case. When I wanted to leave just now, you guys even threatened me, saying that if I dared to leave, I wouldn't be able to get out of the roundabout. If you guys really have people, then why did you contact the local police to deal with the Lei Yu and Lei Zhe brothers? Ma Sanner pursed his lips. Facing Baldy, who exposed his big bluff, he grinned. Yo, looks like you're not stupid. Now that you know that we're not Interpol, you're not going to cooperate? Then why should I cooperate? You can't arrest me. If you want to arrest me, at most you'll report me to the police like how you dealt with Lei Yu and Lei Zhe. But your driving recorder didn't capture any evidence of me committing any crimes. Baldy said. Besides, compared to them, I'm just second boss's underling. You guys don't have to drag me to the detention center, right? You might as well do me a favor and just let me go like a fart. In the future, I'll burn incense for Guanyin every 1st and 15th day of every month and ask her to bless you guys, okay? Okay, my ass. Ma Sanner scolded angrily and slapped the back of Baldy's head. Since you know that we're not from Interpol, then you should understand a simpler principle. Baldy was slapped on the head, and his eyes were seeing stars. But because of the three people's ferocity, he didn't dare to act rashly. He said with a blank face, What principle? Interpol must have their own rules. They can't just kill people. Ma Sanner started to boast again. But we are different. If you push us too far, you can just wait for your family to collect your corpse. Baldy, who had originally thought that he could be an informant, had a complete breakdown. He had just defected from one bandit's nest, and now he had fallen into another bandit's nest? Wasn't it a little too ruthless to threaten people with collecting their corpses? Unlike Ma Sanner, Su-yin didn't have the ability to make up stories with Baldy. You don't have a choice now. but I won't let you work for us for free. As long as we go to Tongluo City and find your big boss, I will let you go. Do you think I'm stupid? If I go with you, do you think they'll let me go? Now our second boss hates me to the core. Previously, he only wanted to cut off my tongue. Now he probably wants to peel off my skin and pull out my tendons. Baldy complained to the heavens. Why did he encounter all kinds of problems? I know you're not stupid, but you have no other choice. Su Yin said. I told you to do this, so you can only do this. Don't you understand? Shin Chen's face was gloomy. He held the short thorn that Lei Yu had pierced his hand with. He turned back and said coldly, if you don't understand, let me explain it to you. The short thorn in his hand flashed a faint cold light, which made Baldy shiver all over. Baldy really felt that he had changed into another person. He used to be not afraid of death, but why didn't he dare to say a word of resistance in this car? He couldn't understand the reason. There was a thing called coercion. It was colorless, tasteless, and silent, but it would make people not dare to act rashly. It was under this coercion that Baldy became more and more cowardly. Although the fear in his heart couldn't be shown on the surface, it had been deeply rooted in the bottom of his heart. He was afraid of Su Yun. He was afraid of him from the bottom of his heart. He was scared to death. It was natural that he didn't dare to resist. Understood. Baldy looked at the cold light in Shin Chen's hand and didn't dare to say anything. He couldn't avoid this. He could only act according to the circumstances. The big boss might not know about this. He just had to pay attention to the second boss. When Ma Sanner saw Baldy's posture, he suddenly scolded him. He was obviously bullying the weak and fearing the strong. He didn't treat him like a bean bun. He also shouted that he must fight Baldy one-on-one when they arrived at Tongluo City. He wanted to let Baldy know that he, Ma Sanner, was not a vegetarian. Although he couldn't beat people like Lei Yu, it was more than enough to deal with Baldy. Baldy didn't say anything. He just let Ma Sanner bully him. Scold him. Anyway, he wouldn't lose anything if he scolded him. At most, he would feel sullen in his heart for a while. Su Yun's car wasn't fast. After all, they were delayed for nearly 2 hours while waiting for the police in the service area. Even if the Mercedes-Benz Royal didn't exceed the speed limit, it would still be more than 240 kilometers. What's more, when Lei Yu and Lei Zhe were in trouble, they would definitely use the fastest speed to escape back. They would at least run more than 180 kilometers. These 2 hours were enough to cover 300 to 400 kilometers. There was still a distance of 1,300 to 400 kilometers from here to Jianghuai. The other party had already run so far away. There was no need to chase at all. How fast could they go if they chased? They wouldn't be able to cover more than 10 kilometers in an hour. They would also have to take the risk of speeding. Su Yun drove at a moderate speed. The words of the police leader were very reasonable. When driving, safety first, speed second. As long as nothing happened, it would be fast no matter what. If an accident happened, even the smallest scratch would take up 2 to 3 hours. This didn't even take into account the time it took to repair the car and paint the sheet metal. If something big happened, they might be sent to play mahjong with the King of Hell. If he felt that someone's mahjong skills were good, he might not let that person come back. At that time, even if they burned some paper money at home, it might not be enough to let the King of Hell win. Although they didn't drive fast, they didn't stop. Su Yun and Ma Sanner took turns to take turns. Shin Chen's hand was injured, so he kept an eye on Baldy. Baldy was also a little afraid of him, so it was suitable for him to keep an eye on him. For more than 1,000 kilometers, they stopped 3 times in the middle of the road. They went to the toilet in the service area, and even had to eat on the road. They finally arrived at Tongluo City in Jianghuai Province before dark the next afternoon. Baldy's mood began to become heavier as they reached their destination. He felt suspicious and worried about everything he saw. Even when they got off the highway, there were a few young men waiting to pick them up in a Passat. He was a little panicked, worried that they were the people arranged by the second boss to keep an eye on them. Su Yun had already thought about this. Since the other party knew their license plate number and car, it was normal to arrange a few people to wait at the highway to pick them up. Therefore, he didn't care at all. It wasn't like he hadn't been followed before. It just so happened that Su Yin had something to do in Jianghuai. The person he was looking for was the guy who arranged for people to follow him for a while. Baldy, didn't you say that Wei Yishan was nothing in front of your big boss? Do you know where Wei Yishan is? Su Yin smiled and turned back. Baldy scratched his head embarrassedly. I was just bragging. No matter what, Buddha Wei is still a big boss in Jianghuai. Although our big boss is not bad, I can't say that Buddha Wei is nothing. Can you still speak the truth? Can you not talk nonsense? Ma San'er scolded angrily. Baldy didn't dare to resist. Buddha Wei is not in Tongluo City. He is in Jingguang City. Chapter 1235. Su Yin glanced at the bald man in disdain. Your big boss is in Tongluo while Wei Yishan is in the provincial capital. How dare you tell me that Wei Yishan is nothing in front of your big boss? That's a bit too much of a joke. Big brother, they are not on the same side. Our big boss can't do what Zhongye Wei does. Zhongye Wei can't do what our big boss does either. There's no difference between high and low. The bald man tried to justify himself. As long as you are a human, there's a difference between high and low. Ma San'er glared at the bald man. Just like you and me now. Don't you think you're lower than me? You have to do whatever I tell you to do. You have to do whatever I tell you to do. Don't you think so? Is there a difference between the two of us? The bald man was rendered speechless by Ma San'er's words. This was too much of a bully. Since Wei Yishan is in Golden Light City, take us to him first. Su Yin smiled. Maybe he can help with this. You know Zhongye Wei. The bald man was shocked. If he could avoid Tongluowan, he certainly didn't want to do so. After all, he didn't know what the second boss had prepared for him. If they were going to Golden Light City, it would be best to leave immediately. Su Yin nodded. You can say that. We've met before. Do you know the way or not? If you don't, get out of the car. We'll find him ourselves. I know. I know. Of course I know. The bald man said repeatedly. If he dared to get out of the car now, he would be dead meat. The bald man's brain worked very quickly. He suddenly realized that if he made a contribution, the boss in front of him might take him in as his subordinate. When are we leaving? You're unteachable. Of course, we're leaving now. Are you waiting for your second boss's people to keep an eye on us before we leave? Ma San'er wanted to slap the bald man when he saw the bald man's shiny head. The bald man was overjoyed. It's great that we're leaving now. That's great. The era of learning from Huan Huan is outdated, okay? Su Yin was speechless. I'll drive. You lead the way. Baldy kept nodding his head. Let's just go straight to the highway. It's easier to travel on the highway, and it'll only take about an hour. If we take the national highway, it'll be slower. There are a lot of cars, and most of them are involved in transportation. They drive even faster at night, and it'll be a little congested. There's no need for you to lead the way if we're going on the highway, Su Yin said with a smile. I'm letting you lead the way so that we can get rid of the people your second boss arranged. The bald man was instantly on tenterhooks. Where? If we don't leave, it'll be hard to find out who's following us. Su Yin. Now just point the way to the most congested place in Tongluo City. In your line of work, you should have gotten rid of stalkers before, right? You should know what to do. I don't think I need to say more. Understood. Of course I understand. The bald man said excitedly. That's easy. Leave it to me. I have all the streets and alleys in my mind. Let's go. Baldy was really excited when he got excited. This was an opportunity for him to perform meritorious deeds. Of course, he had to act like he could do things well and establish a good image. Only then could he be appreciated by his boss. As soon as Su Yin's car started moving, the cars that were following them began to surface gradually. Soon, Su Yin determined that there were 4 cars that were suspicious. Under the bald man's guidance, they nimbly walked through the streets and alleys of Tongluo City. It took less than 2 hours for them to leave the 4 cars that were following them behind. The bald man raised his head proudly, hoping to be praised. However, Su Yin didn't say anything. He stepped on the accelerator and rushed directly onto the highway to Jingguang City. There were 3 highway exits in Tongluo City. In order to keep an eye on them, Ning Jiangxing arranged 4 cars and 12 people at each highway exit. The North Highway exit was the first to receive the news that they saw the suspicious Qian. At the same time, 8 cars from the other 2 exits also went to provide support. However, after just 2 hours, Ning Jiangxing received a call saying that they lost them and couldn't find them. Ning Jiangxing was so angry that he cursed. How could he lose track of someone in his own territory? A bunch of good-for-nothings. They're all King idlers. Boss, calm down. I'm afraid you can't blame them for this. Xilanhua frowned. Baldi Chang is in their car. Xilanhua's words reminded Ning Jiangxing. That's right, damn it. No wonder the other party was so familiar with the roads and could leave them behind. It must be Baldi Chang. Baldi Chang, wait until I catch you. I'll skin you alive. Boss, what do we do now? Wind Ear wanted to help, but he was powerless. Seeing that Xilanhua was appreciated, he was full of ambition after returning to Tongluo City. Ning Jiangxing glared at him and said, "Why don't you ask? Can you use your brain? Is your brain full of idiots? What do you think we can do? Find them. You must find them before the big boss finds out about this. If the big boss finds out that the tricolor Tang Wan got into trouble in Yanjing, none of you will have a good ending. Do you understand?" Understood. Wind Ear had good intentions, but he got himself into trouble and was yelled at for nothing. Go and find them immediately. Ning Jiangxing's anger was too big. Even Shorty Lu became his punching bag. He pointed at his nose and said, "You only know how to King walk around here. Walk around your ass. Get out of here. The further the better. If anyone doesn't do something, don't King work for me." Shorty grinned and didn't dare to complain. He obediently followed Wind Ear out of Ning Jiangxing's office. Ning Jiangxing narrowed his eyes. He couldn't calm down for a long time. He gritted his teeth in hatred. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have let Baldi Chang leave. He would have asked Lei Zhe to kill him in the car. At most, there would have been a corpse smell in the trunk. It wouldn't have turned into such a disgusting scene. Boss, should we tell the big boss? After all, this matter seems to be getting out of hand. Xilanhua's heart was beating like a drum. If this matter wasn't handled well and the big boss found out, Ning Jiangxing might not lose an arm or a leg, but he might not be able to leave a complete corpse. When Ning Jiangxing heard this, he looked at Xilanhua differently. You didn't report it when it first happened. Now you want to report it. Where am I supposed to put my face? Lanhua, I thought you thought things through. This isn't something you should say. Boss, I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. Xilanhua lowered his head and didn't say anything. He finally realized that at times like this, the second boss wouldn't think for them. He would only think for himself. You go too. You must find him before the big boss finds out. Ning Jiangxing said. Don't let me down. Xilanhua bowed his head and said goodbye, but his heart was filled with anger. To put it bluntly, they were not the ones who started this. When they noticed that someone was following them, they told Ning Jiangxing about it. It was Ning Jiangxing who stopped them from reporting it to the big boss. If this matter could be resolved, it would be easy. The big boss didn't know, and those who knew wouldn't dare to say anything. But if it couldn't be resolved, Ning Jiangxing would definitely clean himself up and make them the scapegoat. Damn old fox. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.